You know how the false prophet said, have you ever been swallowed up? Have you?
Would have been. I would have been. I would have been. I would have been. I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was overwhelming and you were at your wit's end? That is my point of view.
If you guys get the chance, you guys got to look at Twitter. You got to look at Twitter. If you get the chance. This is disgusting stuff. As Ticket TV would say, this is disgusting. Look at this tweet right here. It says, why don't Jamel Hill and Malika Andrews have think pieces about Sha'Carri Richardson abusing her BF? They had a lot to say about Ray Rice and Ime Udoka. Yep. Somebody says Sha'Carri Richardson got arrested for an alleged DV dispute. More black men need to start filing charges instead of being punching bags. Facts. But like I said, I'm going to come at this with a different perspective. A little bit of a different perspective. Because for far too long, men have fostered this environment to the point now. I'm going to show you some comments later where I'm talking about black women in the comments praising Christian Coleman for covering Sha'Carri Richardson's tracks. And the interesting part is when back in the day, I would be talking about like when I would say Kareem Hunt, right? I don't think he deserved to be kicked off the Chiefs the first time. I could barely get an amen from the men from that. Barely. I could barely get an amen for that. And then when the women are starting to be the perpetrators of these things, or they're starting to get caught more. Even when we talk about, like, say, the teachers, when they're starting to get caught more, all of a sudden I don't hear dudes talking about, oh yeah, I'm finna hunt down this pedophile with my gun and all this stuff. Now these teachers are getting caught. These female teachers are getting caught messing with kids. It's because that's really all it is. They're getting caught more. I don't think there's really been a real increase, even though there is an increase. But I just think they're just getting caught more. But now that the female teachers are getting caught more, you don't see dudes talking about, oh, I'm finna hunt down this teacher with my shotgun. You don't hear dudes saying that no more. In fact, you hear dudes saying the opposite, saying that those boys should feel lucky for being targeted. And mind you, these men be like 40 years old, 30 plus years old saying these things. Men like this, and what you're going to see, Christian Coleman, you people have fostered the normalcy of women abusing men and getting away with it. Everything that they've accused us of, we've been fostering men abusing women. No, that's not true. Men go out their way to not even be in that kind of vicinity. But it looks like it's actually the opposite. Men have been fostering female abuse. That's what's been happening. That's really what's been happening. That's what's really been going on. Okay. But we it is what it is. It is what it is. People gonna pay for this. People gonna pay for this. People gonna catch this work. You know. Watch this. Hold on. Let me see if we can find this real quick. It says Sha'Carri Richardson's boyfriend brings silence on her arrest. Which news article would be the best to see if we're gonna get the most unbiased take? Actually, it probably doesn't matter. I think anyone should work. You see the cut. Let me turn on the ads for this one. Let's pause on this. Oh, they're saying I can't even read the article. I need to log in. It had nothing to do with ads. So let's go on the USA Today. And let's disable the ad blocker. And I'm going to open up the tab in a little bit. I just got to fix this. Here we go. USA Today. Right? Christian Coleman, Sha'Carri Richardson boyfriend, speaks out about her arrest. And to the people that don't know, Sha'Carri did real damage. So, because usually in a DV dispute, they take in both the man and the woman, even if the woman is doing most of the damage or doing most of the work. But in this case, the police went straight. They look at the footage and they went straight to Sha'Carri Richardson. That's how foul, that means she was beyond foul. That's what that means. Okay. Christian Coleman defended Sha'Carri Richardson after an alleged incident at the airport in Seattle, Tacoma International Airport, in which Richardson was arrested for a DV, according to police report. He said, "For me personally, I feel like it was a sucky situation all around. I don't feel like she should have been arrested. I mean, people have discussions and emotions and stuff like that. She has things that she needs to work on for herself. Of course, so do I. So do you. So does everybody. But I'm the type of guy who's in the business of extending grace and mercy and love." And right there with this quote right here, this shows that Christian Coleman is part of the problem. And then on top of that, this shows that this is not her first time putting her hands on Christian Coleman. And he's been allowing this to occur. Simple as. Simple as. But anyways, I want to talk about something a little bit off topic. This one's going to be a little bit off topic. Okay. So right here,
I knew that. Everybody.
it looks like Cam Newton and Johnny Manziel have come together and collaborated. So this is interesting. So if you guys don't know, people have just been throwing shots at Cam. Particularly a lot of one thing I want to point out, it looks like it's a lot of black athletes, black media personalities taking their shots at Cam. That's something I've been keeping notice of. It's very interesting, to say the least. And Gilly the Kid tried to take a shot at Cam. And what was interesting was Johnny Manziel came to Cam Newton's defense. And maybe I thought I was the only one, but I liked Johnny Manziel's defense for Cam. I'm like, I'm behind Johnny Manziel with this one. Pause. I can get behind that. I liked that he came to his defense. I think too many people take it's I think it's very unfair how Cam Newton has been treated throughout his athletic career. I really think it's been very unfair how he's been treated. And for the people that always bring up the fumble, right? In 2015, 2016, right? From the 2015-2016 season. It's sad that out of all the things he's done in his career, they're just going to bring up that one play. And his career is more than just that one play. And I just think that it's very unfair for, out of all the work that Cam Newton has put into the game, all the shots he's taken, all the physical punishment he's taken, for everything that he's put into the game, especially when you talk about just entertainment wise, for it just to come down to the fumble that he didn't jump on. I think that's unfair. I think that, men they talk about how their wives or their ex-wives or their girls, they will do everything for their girls, but they made one mistake, and then their girl will always bring up that one mistake out of all the good that they've done. But I believe people have treated Cam Newton, but those same dudes, they don't even understand the irony in that. They don't even see the irony in that. Let's see if we can get a play-by-play between what Cam Newton was saying. Yeah, between what Cam Newton was saying, Gilly the Kid's response back to Cam Newton, and what he said. Let's see if we can get a play-by-play about that. Cam Newton, Gilly the Kid. Excuse me. Sorry. So right here. Because and I'll say this, I think Johnny Manziel has I respect Johnny Manziel with the response, because I'm like, why ain't nobody respond back to Gilly the Kid and say, look, I'm gonna smack you? Why are you disrespecting one of the best athletes we've ever had? I don't know why none of the black athletes have come in a defense like this. that's really why I'm like, wow, this is kind of a shame. People want to talk about black this and black that, yet one of our most targeted black athletes over the years, black people tend to join in with the critique of Cam Newton. And it's sad that Johnny Manziel, I've seen Johnny Manziel come to his defense. I've seen, Greg Olson come to Cam Newton's defense, Luke Kuechly, right? It seems like Cam Newton is like an easy target. It seems like he's an easy target for people to take shots at him. Let's see. Maybe we should go under Barstool Sports over this. I don't know. Let me see. Bars. Maybe they'll give you the play-by-play. Says Johnny Manziel challenged Gilly the Kid to a fight at Rough and Rowdy over the Cam Newton Jalen Hurts drama. Gilly clapped back, covered in white powder, telling Mr. Football to join AA. So obviously Gilly the Kid shot back at Johnny Manziel when Johnny Manziel threatened to slap Gilly by referring to Johnny Manziel's cocaine problems. Okay. I don't really think you could use that against Johnny Manziel because he's been pretty forthright, pretty forthcoming about his problems, right? And what's interesting, I don't know why people are so mad at Cam Newton's takes, especially when it comes to like certain his football takes, but specifically when he was talking about Jalen Hurts. I guess he made a top 10 QB list and Jalen Hurts wasn't in it. Now, some people might say it was there's saltiness involved because they had a previous exchange, but nothing that Cam said was like out of the realm of response of reality in terms of a lot of people were questioning Jalen Hurts in his ability, and that's not the first time that has happened in his career. But I'll say this: congratulations to Jalen Hurts for doing his job, winning the Super Bowl. But Cam Newton's opinion on Jalen Hurts, he kept it football for the most part. He kept it football. Or when he made I remember he made the opinion the previous year when he was talking about there are game managers and there are game changers. And when he mentioned who he thought the game managers were, Dak, Tua, Brock Purdy, etc., people were upset, but he was 100% right. These are game managers, right? But it seems like anything that Cam Newton says, it's like they're always they can never give him a spot where Cam Newton can win. He can never win in these kind of situations. So let's play that clip of Gilly the Kid taking a shot at Cam Newton.
Cam ain't never had one of these. I ain't going back and forth with you, nigga. Thank you, Jalen. Appreciate you, Jalen. Love you, Nick. Love you, Nick. Appreciate you, Jalen. Cam Newton never had one of these. I said Cam Newton never got one of these. Thank you, Jalen. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you, Dom. I'm not going back and forth on live. Jalen do a lot of things wrong, but he do.
Okay. And for people to say, that's not Johnny Manziel's business. Guys, Johnny Manziel, he's a Heisman winner. Cam Newton, he's a Heisman winner. There's for a long time, the Heisman winners, they've been trying to like come up with their own club or come up with their own thing where the Heisman winners have their own club or their own brand or something like that. So they have things in common, right? First of all, I'll say this, one of the things that Johnny Manziel and Cam Newton, they both have in common were they both carried their college programs on their back. Now, people could say, oh, it's college, it's not the pros. I'm like, well, technically college is the pros. Technically college is the pros. But second of all, that's no small, like what Johnny Manziel and Cam Newton did for their respective universities was no small feat. Like Johnny Manziel, I'll say with Johnny Manziel, he did have some help. Cam Newton had literally, it was just him. It was just Cam Newton was literally a one-man army. And Johnny Manziel, he did have some help. He did play with Mike Evans. But Johnny, it was Johnny Manziel. I'm talking about that stadium that Texas A&M playing. That's all Johnny Manziel, right? So let's keep it a buck. Both of these guys have that in common. They both carried their franchises, their programs on their back. And if they had NIL back then, the money that they would have been making is it's crazy. The money they would have been making if they had NIL back then. And you can't say they wouldn't have been successful because they had a lot of success with relatively minimal help, specifically when you're talking about Cam Newton and Johnny Manziel to a lesser extent. Because outside of Mike Evans, who else did he really have? You know what I mean? So, and when you talk about Johnny Manziel running it, throwing it, he carried that team. Let's keep it a buck. He carried that team. Rightful Heisman winner, all that. Cam Newton, rightful Heisman winner, all that. So they have that in common. Okay. So right here, Johnny Manziel said, "Yo, Gilly the Kid, you may be the biggest effing loser on the planet, talking like you effing done anything on the football field. If I see you, just know I'm going to slap the F out of you. Trust." And mind you, technically, Johnny Manziel kept it football too, because Gilly the Kid, he likes to really, he's an Eagles super fan. He likes to get himself involved like he be playing. But let's be honest, the amount of ish that Gilly be talking, you be thinking it's almost like you think he's playing. And Gilly the Kid, remember he tried to junk talk Jeff Teague, and Jeff Teague had to sit him down for a little bit when it came to basketball. He had to sit him down. Jeff Teague had to sit Gilly the Kid down. Gilly the Kid called out Jeff Teague, and Jeff Teague had to sit him down. Oh, I could get Jeff Teague one-on-one. I'm like, these are NBA players, right? Jeff Teague completely, not only did he destroy him in the 1v1, he completely shut him down. Gilly the Kid got 0 points off of Jeff Teague. He had to show him there's levels to this, but the way Gilly the Kid be talking, he really think he can play with some of these people. And Jeff Teague had to show him a lesson. Johnny Manziel said, "Take Jalen's what out of your mouth for a couple minutes. Pretty sure he's already got a chick." Johnny Manziel said, "I love $1 million worth of game, but that's the corniest ish I've ever seen in my life." And then obviously this specific tweet when he said, "Can't wait for this response. Just set up the rough and rowdy and let's call it a day." Right. And that response is the one where this is where this picture came in, where Gilly the Kid was trying to call Johnny Manziel a cokehead. I don't really think you can hold that against Johnny, because he's been, everybody knows this already. Everybody knows what Johnny Manziel was doing, what he was and wasn't doing when he was in the NFL, when he was in college. We all know, like, he's never denied any of these things. So I don't even think you can really hold that against him. By the way, I loved Johnny Manziel's interview on Club Shay Shay. You guys got to watch. That's an interview that people should watch. That was a very interesting interview, to say the least. That was a very interesting interview. So here we go. We got Cam Newton. It says Cam Newton being petty, his words, and firing back at Terrell Owens, Ryan Clark, and Gilly the Kid today on his YouTube channel.
Just look at the stats, bro. Miss me with the hate. That's so easy to say. Terrell, Ryan, Gilbert.
I'll say this. I'll give T.O. a pass, because T.O. is the one. He is going to speak his mind no matter what it is. No matter what it is, he's going to speak his mind, whether he's right or wrong, mind you. And Terrell Owens is actually, I'm probably his biggest fan, but when it comes to personal matters there's a lot of things where I disagree with Terrell Owens. And this is one of these. This is one of these things. And then on top of that, Terrell Owens does have Philly connects. Terrell Owens was well received from the Philadelphia Eagles fans, so he's gonna. So there's obviously some bias there. You know what I mean? So anybody that's talking about somebody that's talking about Jalen Hurts, Terrell Owens will take that personally. So I'm gonna give Terrell Owens a pass, right? I think that's like whatever that is. Terrell Owens and Cam Newton, they can work out their differences. They have Terrell Owens and Cam Newton have a lot more in common than they think.
Did you know his album was Philadelphia?
I didn't even know how many albums did he drop?
4 studio albums.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I couldn't look up the units that were sold, but that's one of the main reasons why he's in podcasting now.
Chill.
Damn, Cam, chill with the ghillie shots. Chill.
One of his albums, ironically enough, was called $1 Million Worth of Game.
Oh, for real?
Hello. I'm sorry, Gilly, but I'm educating people on your career.
Philadelphia.
I mean, come on, dog. Like, stop playing with me.
So then this was Gilly the Kid's response. So no, this was so this was the video that started off everything, I guess. Or no. This was actually his response to this.
Good day, Cam Newton. I seen you came at me because I said Jalen Hurts did what you couldn't do. That was win a Super Bowl. So you want to get all in your feelings. Man, shut your tight jean wearing ass up, man. Nigga, you had on a jersey with a bow tie, you corny ass nigga. Get out of here, nigga. You will never be able to fuck with.
And to be fair, Gilly the Kid, he's kind of joking with this because let's keep it a buck. If Gilly the Kid sees Cam Newton in person, he's going to talk about I was just playing. this is just entertaining. But Gilly the Kid, I'll say this, bro. You've been doing too much because I already know once you see Cam, you're not gonna say none of this. You're not gonna say none of this. Yeah, but you gonna be talking about how I was just playing. Come on, man.
With Jalen Hurts, nigga, you super goofy, corny ass nigga. Get out of here, nigga.
Oh yeah, and by the way, I was seeing some crazy stuff on Twitter where people say, wait, what if Jalen Hurts have a better career than Cam? I'm like, whoa, let's pump the brakes. Cam Newton is what you're talking about overall. At Cam Newton's peak, I'm not going to say way better than Jalen Hurts, but yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, at Cam Newton's peak, he's way better than Jalen Hurts. Even as we speak, even with no Super Bowl, Cam Newton was an MVP. Cam Newton was a multiple time Pro Bowl bowler. Cam Newton carried that Carolina Panthers team on his back for damn near for close to a decade. Like, Cam Newton carried Auburn to the national championship. Jalen Hurts was the reason why Alabama didn't win the championship, even though he had a stacked team. He had to transfer because he lost his job to Tua when he was in college. And Jalen Hurts was on a stacked team in Alabama. Let's keep it up. He was on a stacked team and he was struggling. So their careers are completely different. Cam Newton is way, way better. Like, like if you put Cam Newton on that team in 2016, the one that Jalen Hurts was on, like I don't even think Alabama would have lost the game. So I've been seeing people on Twitter talking about Jalen Hurts was better than Cam. I'm like, whoa. Y'all taking this too far. Y'all can agree or disagree of what you think that Cam Newton should have said about Jalen Hurts, but let's make something clear. Cam Newton was way better than Jalen Hurts. Way better. Jalen Hurts would have not been able to do anything with that Carolina Panthers team that made the Super Bowl in the 2015-2016 season. Cam Newton had that team on his back. Damn near an undefeated season. If Cam Newton won that Super Bowl, he would have only lost one game that season with Ted Ginn Jr. as his lead wide receiver. and he had a fullback as his lead running back in Tolbert. Stop it. And as much as I love Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts had two number one wide receivers, MVP at the running back position, basically running back that had an MVP type season, a damn near record breaking season. You have a decent tight end in Dallas Goedert. I mean, great coach in Nick Sirianni. I mean, he in the Eagles defense. I mean, they had no weakness on their defense. Literally no weakness. So it's literally like night and day. Cam Newton was better than Jalen Hurts. I know people have their grievances on Cam Newton, but let's not get it twisted. And just because Jalen Hurts has a Super Bowl and Cam Newton doesn't, does not mean that Jalen Hurts is better than Cam Newton. To win a Super Bowl, it takes a team to win a Super Bowl. That's why in 2018 when the Eagles won the Super Bowl, they won it with Nick Foles and without Carson Wentz, is because they already had a stacked team. It takes a team to win a Super Bowl. Right? Long live the king, said a bro. I hate when people bring championships in discussions between two players like it's the say all be all. It boggles my mind. And here's the thing, long live the king. This is what boggles my mind. People like to say, oh, this guy won this amount of championships. He did this and he did that. But the people that actually did it by themselves, that really can say, yo, I dragged my team to this, which is Cam Newton is really one of the few people that can say, look, I did this shit by myself in college. In college, where people get passes for having stacked ass teams. When he was on that Auburn team, it was just him. And when he was on the Panthers team, it was just him. He's one of the few athletes, or I'll say this, one of the few QBs. He's one of the few QBs that can say, oh, it was just me. Really, facts. Long live the king says so. It's like saying Vic ain't better than Hurts. That's what. And mind you, Vics don't have a Heisman. Vics don't have an MVP or sorry, because Jalen Hurts doesn't have anything close. But I mean, but Vic carried the Falcons to the NFC Championship. And it was like just him. It was literally just him. You know what I mean? And for people to say Hurts is better than Cam Newton, that's literally like say, oh, if you ask, I'm like, so you think Hurts is better than Vic just because of accomplishments? If you put Mike Vick on that Alabama team that Jalen Hurts lost his job to 2-2, Alabama would have never lost a game. You know what I mean? But let's keep it up. Let's keep it a buck. That Eagles team was stacked. They were stacked. There's no shame in that. You need to win a Super Bowl, you need a stacked team. Right? And all of this nonsense is coming from the fact where Cam Newton, he still sees Jalen Hurts as not necessarily a game manager, but he was saying that Jalen Hurts doesn't need to do much for the Eagles to win. And that's true. He's the quarterback. What they're asking Jalen Hurts to do is just don't lose the game. And when they stack the box, make sure you give it to your playmakers. It's gonna be 1v1 coverage. If they stack the box, it's gonna be single coverage. AJ gonna be 1v1, Devontae gonna be 1v1. Throw it up to AJ Brown because basically he's unstoppable with the 50-50 ball going to him. Throw it to your playmakers on the 1v1 when they stack the box. And Jalen Hurts was able to do that. So Jalen Hurts, he basically played the Russell Wilson role, right? So Russell Wilson played that same role as a game manager when he was on the Seahawks before he evolved into something else. So that's really all that Cam Newton was saying. But you know, the Eagles fans, they took offense to that. But you know, Eagles fans, you already know Eagles fans is crazy. You already know that. But that whole championship stuff, like it's the end all be all. That really gets on my nerves. that whole championship stuff. The championships is not the end all be all, man. There's so many facets. You got to have the right GM. You got to have the right owners. You got to have the right coaches. You got to have the right offensive coordinator. Like NFL is like one of these things where coaching really matters. Like coaching really matters. It's really hard to overcome like bad coaching or incompetence. There are great coaches that will never make it back to the Super Bowl. And they already and they previously won a Super Bowl. That's how hard it is. It takes everything, and then people got to stay healthy. You know what I mean? Like, how about this? I'll give you an example. In 2016, 2017 season, I don't think Matt Ryan should have won MVP. I thought if you was going to give it to a QB, give it to Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers had better stats, and he had less help. Matt Ryan had Julio Jones, Mohamed Sanu, two stud running backs in Coleman and Freeman. Devontae Freeman and Tevin Coleman. He had two running backs playing at the top of their game. Two. Similar to how the Lions got two stud running backs, right? He had and then he had Kyle Shanahan calling the plays. How was he one of the best offensive lines in the league? How was he and he's playing in the dome for most of the year? How the hell is Matt Ryan not going to put up good stats? Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers is playing in Lambeau Field. One of the hardest. It's not even really home field. It's playing in Lambeau Field. If you're a Pack, it's not even home field. So you're playing in one of the hardest places to play at, and he's putting up numbers. We're talking about that second half of the season. Aaron Rodgers was putting up numbers, and he led his team in rushing. But because because the Atlanta Falcons was the number one seed in the NFC, a weaker and even though he was in a weaker division too, they wanted to reward Matt Ryan for finally having his second breakout year, right? But that's just how it is because they're just going off of, oh, he has a better record, he has a better team, he has a better team record, so the MVP should go to the QB with the best team record. I've never believed in that. I've never believed in that. I thought if he was going to give it to a QB in 2016, 2017, Aaron Rodgers should have had it. Not Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan's, he was being carried by great play calling, which there's no crime in that, but I'm just saying. Great play calling. And you had Julio Jones, who was the best player in the league. He had the best player in the league playing wide receiver for him. and he had a running game. I mean, are you kidding me? Stop. But you know, I can go off about that. But let me keep that.
Nigga, what you do? You won MVP, you won a Super Bowl, win a Super Bowl MVP, and you hating on him because he did what you couldn't do, nigga. Win a Super Bowl, and he been to two of them. So when you hating on him, nigga, just know you wasn't better than him, nigga. You talk about, can you name one of my albums, nigga? You ain't got to be able to name one of my albums.
But that's like saying, Cam Newton was hating on Brock Purdy because he said the same thing about Brock Purdy. Cam Newton said the same exact thing. What he was saying about Jalen Hurts, he was saying the same thing about Brock Purdy. He said the same thing about Tua. I don't see how that qualifies as hating. And I'm not saying Cam Newton has never been a hater. I'm just saying, like, he said the same thing about Brock Purdy, but you calling it hating when he's saying it about Jalen Hurts. I don't get it.
Albums, nigga. Fuck wrong with you. You in my space. You ain't bigger than me in this space, nigga. You a low ass boy in this space, nigga.
Now, Gilly the Kid, he's just but just to let you know, he is joking a little bit. But Gilly, after saying all of this, I don't want to be seeing that, like, once you and Cam Newton meet, I don't want to be here. I don't want to hear that Ish talk about, hey man, I was just playing, man. I was just playing. I don't want to hear that Ish. I really don't want to hear that Ish. I'm getting sick and tired of people talking Ish about Cam Newton, and then they'll meet up and the cameras will be rolling and these motherfuckers will have their head down like they don't see Cam Newton trying to talk to him. remember when Kelvin Benjamin was talking crazy about Cam Newton when he was when Kelvin Benjamin was at the Buffalo Bills and the preseason game happened. Cam Newton tried to meet up with Kelvin Benjamin and Kevin Benjamin couldn't even look Cam Newton in the eye. And Cam was like, yo, what's happening? I'm getting sick and tired of people doing this to Cam. This is not fair. This is not, because then once Cam Newton starts being a bully out here, then people are gonna say he's a bully. Like that, I don't think that's fair. I really don't think that's fair for you to talk crazy. And then when he meets up with you, y'all got your head down, talk about I was just playing or I was just talking. Nah, man, come on. Because then Cam Newton gonna look like a bully. Then he looks like a bully. And we could think, oh, this is entertaining, but I don't even think Cam Newton wants to be even doing stuff like that, right? And mind you, I don't agree with everything that Cam Newton does, you know. But in this case, I think he's been fair when it comes to critiquing most of the NFL quarterbacks. I think he's been fair. He's kept it football.
Yellow ass boy. I could come sign you, nigga. Yellow ass boy. What you talking about? Yeah. That nigga don't ever hate on Jalen Hurts, nigga. I know it hurts your fucking feelings that you wasn't Jalen, nigga. You non-Super Bowl having ass nigga. And let's be for real. You out of clout chasing, man. You interviewed a nigga on your platform who ain't nobody, and he got on there and talked about Deion Sanders, Beyonce, Jay-Z, a bunch of them. Come on, man. You a Pro Bowler, man. You made millions of dollars, man. That's the type of content you chasing, man. Get your goofy ass out of here, Cam.
Okay. I think, let me not incriminate Gilly the Kid, because I know he's just playing, kind of, but because we already know they're gonna meet up. Once they meet up, he's gonna act like he's just playing. He's gonna act like he's just playing.
Cam Newton, Jalen Hurts did what you couldn't do. That was win a Super Bowl.
There will not be no playing with my name, with my career. This is all entertainment here.
And shut your tight jean wearing ass up, man. You had on a jersey with a bow tie, you corny ass nigga. You will never be able to with Jalen Hurts, nigga. You.
Oh, let me see something. Garrett Grant is in the building. Shout out to Garrett Grant, man. Shout out to you. Yes, sir. But I know people, like, obviously people can definitely disagree with me on this, but I just don't think it's fair if the people that take the shots at Cam Newton, because he's one of them people, like, the only person that I will allow for a fair critique was Terrell Owens, because he's a person that speaks his mind anyways. He's not one to bite his tongue status or no status. Like he keeps it 100 at all points. If Corey Holcomb, he's had his critiques of Cam Newton. I accept him making the critiques, right? But everybody else, especially since you've because we already know once you meet up with him, they're not gonna do nothing. And then when now, what if Cam Newton is like really feeling the ways and he starts pressing people, right? Then he's gonna be called a bully because of his size. I don't think when you're dealing with people like that, I don't think that's fair. Me personally, I don't think that's fair because you're not giving him a chance where he can win. You know what I mean?
You super goofy, corny ass nigga.
I know why you in your feelings, Gilly. Was it the album comment? Can you name me one Gilly the Kid album? Damn. Did you know his album was Philadelphia?
That kind of struck a nerve.
Where I'm from, Gilly, we stab and we twist. Wise words was told to me. They say, when you go low, I go to hell. So let's bring up your actual facts and your actual stats. When I'm looking at your rap career, Gilly did not chart any solo singles on the Billboard Hot 100. Philadelphia didn't do no numbers? Dang. Former member of Major Figures, bass rap group late 90s and early 2000s. You ain't never been great at nothing. The only great thing that Gilly does, he's a great mascot. Big hat, dancing around, yeah, getting them going. Mascot, very questionable career. We can't relate on a lot of things, Gilly. And if
Damn. But I'll say that because I I'm not like a huge Johnny Manziel fan per se, but I'm with Johnny Manziel on this. I'm with Johnny Manziel. Oh shit. Hold on. Oh man. Oh damn, it looks like Johnny Manziel's going in on people on Twitter too. But shout out to Johnny Manziel for sticking up for Cam. It's because I don't really see people really stick up for Cam. You know what I mean? I think he's an easy target. One of the things I do like about First Things First, the show, and I think why First Things First has standed the test of time, is they don't go after the easy subjects, the easy targets. They can actually expand beyond talking about the usual suspects. And when given the opportunity to talk about the usual suspects, they were able to flip it on its head and actually critique the media and why they're targeting a Cam Newton, or at one point an Odell Beckham Jr., right? At one point, whoever you can think of, right? Even I got to give Nick Wright his respect in terms of, because Nick Wright is like a super libtard, right? Because there was a lot of people, particularly when you're talking about those Stephen A. Smiths of the world, who had all that crap to say about Kyrie Irving for not taking the shot. And then when they found out that Aaron Rodgers did take the shot and he was capping, it was only Nick Wright that called him out. And that Aaron Rodgers is like Nick Wright's personal friend. Like, they know each other. And he was the only one that called him out. Stephen A. Smith was acting like he didn't talk all that ish about Kyrie Irving. So I had to respect Nick Wright for keeping his journalistic integrity by calling out Aaron Rodgers with the same intensity, if not more intensity, because at least Kyrie had the decency to be like, look, I'm going to sit out for what I believe in. But it was a lot of people that did not keep that same energy for Aaron Rodgers not taking the shot. But at least Kyrie Irving had the decency to sit out. It was a lot of people afraid to call out Aaron Rodgers. I was flabbergasted, to say the least. Right. And mind you, I agree with Aaron Rodgers and Kyrie Irving, but I had to respect Nick Wright's journalistic integrity for that. Because Stephen A. Smith had nothing to say about Aaron Rodgers doing the exact same thing that he was critiquing Kyrie Irving over. So I had to give Nick Wright his props on that, even though I disagreed with him calling out Aaron Rodgers. But if you have real journalistic integrity, the same way you're calling out Kyrie Irving, you got to call out Aaron Rodgers. And a lot of people wasn't doing that. So I got to give him his respect for that. But anyways, let's go into the usual suspects. Oh, let me see these comments. Shout out to OJ Desire checking in. Garrett Grant said, to be honest, as an Eagles fans, I got to defend Jalen a little bit. You can't just game manage your way to 2 Super Bowls and win a chip. I agree. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a game manager, but I'll say this. I've seen some of these lists. Garrett, let me say this. I've seen some of these lists, and these people that still have Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts, I think that's wildly disrespectful. That I believe is wildly disrespectful because Justin Herbert was basically put in the same position that Jalen Hurts has been tasked to do. In all he had to do, all Justin Herbert had to do was hand the ball off, let the defense do the work, right? And Justin Herbert, when tasked of basically doing Jalen Hurts' job, he failed miserably. And I'm talking about like miserably. He failed miserably. I don't know how you have 2 interceptions the whole year. And then in the one playoff game you got 4 interceptions, and people still consider Justin Herbert over Jalen Hurts. If Jalen Hurts was in the same position with the Chargers, they would not have choked off the way that he did. And look, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you when it comes to Justin Herbert. I have Justin Herbert coming out of college. I had Justin Herbert ranked higher than Tua, than even Joe Burrow, believe it or not. I really looked at his potential. I'm like, well, there's really not much he can't do, right? Coming out of college, I had Justin Herbert higher ranked than Trevor Lawrence. I consider Justin Herbert a better prospect than Lawrence, and it's actually proven out to be true. But I had Justin Herbert ranked high coming out of college, really high, you know. So this is not me being like, you know, but I got to keep it a buck. I mean, how long do we have to, just we keep waiting on potential, and Jalen Hurts has actually done it. And when given whatever task that the Eagles have asked Jalen Hurts to do, he's been able to do it. And to me, Jalen Hurts he's more than a game manager. It's Jalen Hurts. He's basically in our time, he's basically the Russell Wilson of our time. That's basically it. He's basically the Russell Wilson of our time. And it might be a bit of a lazy comparison, but meaning this, yes, Jalen Hurts does manage the game well, but he can actually make big plays when he's asked to make the big plays. So that doesn't make you a game manager. You know what I mean? Now, Russell Wilson started off as a game manager. Tom Brady started off as a game manager, but he evolved into something else. So I think that's what Jalen Hurts is going to evolve to. Jalen Hurts, to me, he's going to be known as a guy that can get it done. He's going to be a guy that people will regard to him as. I remember somebody made the comparison. They made the comparison with Jalen Hurts and Terry Bradshaw, right? So how Terry Bradshaw was just known as a winner. I think that's how Jalen Hurts is going to be known. He's just going to be known as a guy that wins, right? I think that's what's going to happen with Jalen Hurts. I think his career is going to be like, he's just going to be known as a guy that wins. or even like have a Russell Wilson archetype where even though he's on some stacked teams, but he's still going to be the guy that keeps things together. And I'll say this, I think when it comes to leadership, Jalen Hurts is definitely one of the best leaders. Now when it comes to his leadership compared to Cam's, you know, some people might say he's a better leader than Cam. I won't OD disagree with you. You know, they both had different paths coming up. So it is what it is. It's not an unfair point. But I just think Jalen Hurts, he's going to be known as a winner. And these lists where we're putting Jalen Hurts not in the top 10 or where we're putting Justin Herbert over him, and I've been seeing these lists and they still got like Matt Stafford over Jalen Hurts or I see lists they have Jared Goff over Jalen Hurts, and I'm like, no, that's just wrong. that's just wrong, right? That's just wrong. That's just my opinion on that. Nah. I'll say this. So he mentioned Trent Dilfer. No, Jalen Hurts is way better than Trent Dilfer. No disrespect to Trent Dilfer. No, but Jalen Hurts is way better than Trent Dilfer. He said, but I do feel Hurts is a little better than just a game manager. Facts. That's what I agree. I agree with that. And Long Live the King also said Herbert is the modern day Jay Cutler. You might be right. And it might hurt me to say this, but you might be right. Because I actually believe in Justin Herbert's talent. His talent is legit. You can't, I believe, but it's just too many instances where people are like, man, all you got to do is put Justin Herbert on a talented team. I'm like, well, the Chargers teams that he's had in the past, I'm not saying they were stacked, but he's had enough to make a run. Like Justin Herbert, his Chargers teams of the past, he's had enough to make at least one playoff run. At least two playoff runs. He's had 0 playoff runs. And I know he's in his 6th season, but I think Justin Herbert has had enough help where he should have been able to make some kind of an MVP run, at least one playoff run, and he has none. And Justin Herbert, he's had weapons. He's had Keenan Allen. He's had Mike Williams when he was healthy, which is rarely. I'll give you that. But he's had help. He's had help, and I believe Justin Herbert, unfortunately, got the first coach fired. I'm blanking on his name, the black head coach. I think it's his fault that he got fired. You know. And then Gary Gray said, long live a fair point. My only defense is the Ravens had an all-time great defense. Yeah, the Ravens defense, that all they needed was the Ravens defense. All they needed was a quarterback with just half of a brain to make it work. That Ravens I can't believe they were saying that. There was like they was just asking the QB, just give us 7 points. We got it. They went like 5 weeks without scoring a touchdown, and they still won 3. They won like 2 or 3 of those games. I'm like, how's that even possible? Like, people should look. People got anybody that's young in the chat. Please look up that Ravens defense from the 2000. Was it the 2000? The year the team that won in the year 2000. I forgot what year it was. Just look up that the team with Ray Lewis and Shannon Sharp. That defense was just ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. They went like a couple weeks without scoring a touchdown, and they still won like 2 or 3 of those games. That's wow. But anyways, the Eagles though are stacked. You got it. The Eagles, that is as stacked as a team as it gets. you know. And Jalen Hurts, I think he's more than a game manager, and he's going to evolve. And he doesn't need. I don't want, because me personally, I don't want Jalen Hurts to push it. I don't want him to be forcing the ball. Nah, just keep doing what he's doing, and he's going to win games. And what's good about Jalen Hurts is if he doesn't see what he needs to see, he can still run it. He can still run it. That's what helps him. He can still use his athleticism to get to where he needs to be. But anywho, I can go on and on about that. I can go on. But you know what? You might be right, long live the king. If Herbert don't show me something soon, we're going to have to start looking at him as our modern day, like Jeff George, right? Jay Cutler. Who else? What other person that we can bring up? Yeah, we're going to have to start looking at Herbert like, bro, where are the results? And I'll say this, Trevor, I don't care what nobody say in the chat. Trevor Lawrence is god awful. God awful. I don't know how he got paid. This got to be one of the most overrated prospects on earth. Just on earth, like for real. Holy. I don't even care who gets mad at that one. I'm like, I'm gonna stick on with that opinion. Because Trevor Lawrence is god awful. I mean, they've done everything to help this man out, especially in Jacksonville. They've done everything. Like now they gave him Travis Hunter, who can play both defense and wide receiver. I mean, how much more help you need? They got his old teammate back. I mean, from the running back, I'm blanking on his name, but I mean, I don't know how much more help he needs. I think that they fired Doug Peterson. Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams, no excuses, man. Come on, man. I mean, Caleb Williams had one of the most stacked situations coming in ever for a rookie. And I mean, you don't wow. Do you know, like, the wide receivers he had come? He had DJ Moore, the rookie, Adunze, Keenan Allen, and then he had somebody else I'm blanking on the name. You had a tight end. You had a running back. I mean, everything was it was I mean, boy, I'll say that. And then now they hired Ben Johnson, the OC from the Lions. I mean, come on now. And people are saying that Caleb Williams is looking bad in the training camp. So we'll see. We'll see. With him, we'll see. Yeah, Trevor Lawrence and Caleb Williams, overhyped. Yikes, man. Those guys, wow. And yes, long live the king. You're right. Trevor got paid because he looks the part. Unfortunately, don't even get me started with that. Don't even get me started. Such a damn shame. But anyways, moving on. I don't want to get too caught up in too much in the sports. I don't want to get too caught up in the sports. I don't want to get too caught up in that. I want to show you a funny story. So one of the Asian bitches that was suing Diddy, at first, now she's begging for his release. It's the funniest thing I've seen. This is one of the funniest stories I've seen in a minute. You got to see this. So one of the Asian bitches that he had underneath him, Gina Hugh, I don't know how to pronounce her name. She's pleading with the judge for his release ahead of his sentencing. Okay. Virginia, identified as victim 3 in the case against Sean Combs, writes to the court to support his release on bond. She describes knowing Combs for years in personal and professional capacities, portraying him as a dedicated father, family man, and businessman who has worked to improve himself and address past mistakes. This should be illegal, by the way. How do you go from suing him to now you're begging for his release because you want his money? That's wild. Virginia, notes his nonviolent behavior in recent years and his commitment to family, asserting he poses no danger to her or the community. She highlights his cooperation during the investigation, his family ties, and his role as a support for his children, arguing that bond would allow him to continue caring for them under court supervision. Believes that Combs will adhere to any conditions if released, and that it would support the healing process for all involved. Respectfully requesting the court considering these factors. Facts. So shout out to Darling Drea. She says, girl, you said he stomped on your stomach while you were pregnant with his child. Someone please pull up the interview, please. I'm tired of this. Hey, Darling Dre, I'm telling you, money, money. Yeah. Money. I don't got that WWE soundbite. Y'all know exactly what I'm talking about. Money. Yeah. Money. Money. Yeah. We make money. Yeah. Money. Yeah. Anyway, money. Yeah. Somebody, Long Live the King said Trevor Lawrence looked like the storyline QB in Lifetime movies. Yeah, facts. I said that in that year in that draft. I said if he cuts his hair, he's decreasing his draft stock. And I stand on that. But anyways, let's look at the letter. Let's look at the letter she wrote to the judge. This is the funniest thing ever, bro. Look at the letter she wrote to the judge after joining the bandwagon to try to get Diddy locked up. Now that she knows that there's a possibility that Diddy might be released, now she's trying to get on his good side so she can get some of that paper. That's wild work. She says, "Dear Your Honor, my name is Virginia." Hold on. Before I even read the letter, let me put on the right music for this. We got to get the right music for this. Do we have it though? Is there some like Asian music I can put in the background? There's got to be some Asian music, some anime, something. Man, I can't put nothing in the background. Dang. But anyways. My name is Virginia Hunt, and I am writing as the person identified as victim 3 in this case. I have known Sean Combs for many years in both a personal and professional capacity. From that experience, I have seen him primarily as a father, a family man, and a businessman, roles that he has always striven to uphold. I provide this letter to share my observations about his character and to respectfully request that the court permit his release on bond while the case proceeds. First of all, the judge, he's not like, Diddy's been aggressive in trying to get that bond, and the judge keeps denying him bond. It's one of the funniest things. But anyway, I acknowledge and respect Mr. Combs' stands accusing that the court must weigh public safety and integrity of the legal process. At the same time, I believe it is important for the court to have a full picture of who he is beyond the allegations. I mean, technically, you're part of the reason why he had to go through that anyways. But anyway. Our relationship, like many, was not always perfect. We experienced ups and downs, and mistakes were made, but he was willing to acknowledge his mistakes and make better decisions in the future. Over the years that followed, he made visible efforts to become a better person and to address the harm he had caused. By the time our relationship ended, he embodied an energy of love, patience, and gentleness, and that was markedly different from his past behavior. To my knowledge, he's not been violent for many years, and he's been committed to being a father first. What is wrong with these hoes, dog? I am writing because I do not view Mr. Combs as a danger to me or to the community. This is his first criminal case. Throughout the investigations and proceedings, he has been cooperative, respectful, and compliant. He has substantial ties to his family and community, including children who depend on him for emotional and financial support. You're included in that too. You see how she tried to be slick with it, including children who depend on him for emotional and financial support. Technically, you're included in that as well. We know this. Granting him bond would allow him to continue caring for his family and me and fulfilling his responsibilities while still subject to the court's supervision. I want to assure the court that if released, I believe Mr. Combs will adhere to all conditions imposed. It will not jeopardize his freedom or the well-being of his family. Allowing him to be at home will also support the healing process for all involved. I respectfully ask that you consider these factors when deciding his eligibility for release. Thank you for your time and consideration. Respectfully, Virginia. Virginia. This is why I always tell people to please do not save these hoes, especially when they're in positions like this where they keep talking about somebody's always knocking them upside the head and then you see them with them a day later. Or if there's a chance where they can be back together with their quote unquote abuser, they're going to do it. Hold up. Let me see. Let me show you a story real quick. I want to show you something because I'll say these young boys are going through something different when it comes to these hoes. It should show up. It really should show up on my notifications, but I gotta let me see. I gotta see this real quick. I'm looking at my notifications. I want to see if there's a story. There was something where these kids was talking about how basically the girls his age be acting. Let me see this. Open link in new tab. Nope, that's not it. You're right, just know in case. Okay. I'm trying to find this specific story on my notifications where Ainsley just sent me something. But oh no, he's replying to something I sent him. Never mind. But it was these young dudes. They were talking about these high school boys. They were talking about grape and how they know girls where they were saying that the girl like their friends that are girls and those girls were talking about how they got graped by this one dude, but they were still coming back to him and having sex with him after openly saying that he graped them. And that's just basically how hoes are moving nowadays. Nah, that's not it. But it's very interesting the stuff that these young dudes are going through. It's like the women now, they're just moving way different. They moving way different. Because now the typical high schooler now, a girl in high school right now, or entering into high school now, was born past the year of 2010. The youngest high schoolers now, you're talking about people that were born in 2010. So they grew up in a they're growing up in a different time than us. Oh, this is the part that I'm talking about. This is yep, I found it. So right here is this meme kind of went viral right here. This is the one I'm talking about. I found it. Here you have a meme that says, "My female friends, when the toxic guy acts toxic."
Can I talk my shit again?
And it's just him saying, "I told you so." But here's the thing, because when you're in high school, you will have female friends, right? Or you're in middle school, you'll have female friends. And they will talk about how abusive their ex is, or how he's doing this to her and this. And the mistake that many men will make is they'll just be like, "Oh, this guy's trash. You got to leave him," and blah, blah, blah. But really, all you're doing is boosting her confidence enough so that she can actually go back to him and still get abused or still get played or whatever that may be. So right here, I saw a lot of comments like this in this thread. This comment specifically, I'm going to zoom in. This comment right here, it says, "This girl blocked me because I told her not to be friends with her best friend who sexually assaulted her. And she said he promised he wouldn't do it again." Now, you guys might think these are fake stories. No, they're not. I've talked to a couple of some of these high school boys. First of all, I've been in that position where you're seeing these high school girls cover for predators, or they're saying this dude did that to me. I'm like, why don't you call the police? Oh, no, don't do that. Don't do that. He said he's not going to do it anymore. I'm like, I thought you said he did this to you. So I can only, and this was for me, that was like 2014, 2015. So imagine nowadays, 10 years later. Imagine now 10 years later. This guy said, this girl blocked me because I told her not to be friends with her best friend who sexually assaulted her. And she said he promised he wouldn't do it again. This is the stuff that I'm talking about. And I had to tell and watch. He says, "Yeah, I told her a promise doesn't mean anything when he sexually assaulted you." Then she said, "I'm just jealous because I wasn't the one who touched her." And people might think he's making this up, but a high school girl will tell you this. I've seen this. I've seen this live and in color. This is why when it came to female friends in high school, I would tell them specifically, do not tell me about your boy problems. Tell me about something else. And 90+% of the time, they could not. They could not talk about nothing but their boy problems or what problems they were going through in the relationships. They just wanted to use me or use a male counterpart or whomever to trauma dump on you or to lie on that man just so she can feel better about herself afterwards, after you gas her up. Right? Somebody said she probably just liked it. But then I had to tell him this is where I had to tell him, I was like, bro, she's lying. First of all, she's lying about the essay part. she's lying about the essay part. And somebody said it's either she liked it or she lied about it in the first place. And people might, and what's crazy is people will say I'm wrong for saying she's lying. But like I'm saying, technically I'm saving her by saying she's lying, because it's either she's lying or she liked it. And I'm never going to be that heinous and say she liked being essayed. I'm never going to be that heinous. I'm not going to do that on this channel. So that's why I'm actually saving you by saying, look, you're lying. Let's just say that you're lying for all parties involved. Because if for some unknown reason you liked it, I mean, how can a man, if you have a boyfriend in the future, or if you have a man, you're putting him in constant danger. If you like being around dudes that like to essay you, I mean, bruh, you putting everybody that you know around you in danger if that's how you really roll. You know what I mean? But this is the stuff that a lot of, I'll say there's a lot of high schooler boys are definitely going through this now. Because I'm still here. I'm still hearing stuff like this. You should. Yeah, I think I told you about this already. I was at a gig, and because these kids, they like 18. I was playing with these guys. They're 18, 19 years old, right? And they're like they're fresh out of high school, and they're still in college. And one of his friends, I overheard them talking. And he's like, and he said, man, I found this girl, man, and she said she never had a boyfriend before. And I was like, you, and in my head, I'm like, you dumbass. But I just stayed quiet. These little hoes is running circles around even these conservative dudes because they know exactly what to say to make it seem like they're innocent. But we already know on this channel, if you're dealing with a girl, I don't care at what age, she's talking about, I've never had a boyfriend. That doesn't mean she ain't been getting pounded out. That just means nobody has claimed her. And I don't care how old she is. I don't care how old she is. And in that case, this was a 20 or a 19-year-old talking about he met another 20 and 19-year-old that's never had a boyfriend before. And he thinking he found a one, or he found a good one. And in my head, I'm like, this boy here, he's gonna go through it with that one. He's gonna I'm just sitting there like, hey man. When I heard that, I was like, you know what? This is why this space is needed. this space is needed. I don't care what nobody say. He said the first comment alone, bruh. Yep. Oh, he said that's some Stockholm syndrome ish. But like I said, remember the video I showed you with the Swedish chick? She said Stockholm syndrome, it doesn't exist. Remember that video I showed? I said where the Swedish girl, she said stock is the feminist. It was a feminist. She said Stockholm syndrome doesn't exist, but she tried to blame it as men created Stockholm syndrome so they can justify their victims staying with their abusers. But she doesn't realize men came up with that term to try to put a logic behind why would a woman, when she has all the freedoms to leave, stay, why they would stay in an abusive relationship when they could do literally anything else in the world. So them actually coming up with the term Stockholm syndrome, it was a way to actually protect women's reputation. But the feminists, they're just so anti-male, anti-this, anti-patriarch. They don't even see the steps where the patriarchy, the quote unquote patriarchy, has stepped in to save women's reputation. Okay. So I'm telling you, you got to look through, do the research, look at these, like even look at like, because some people might say, oh, you're too old to be looking at these memes. I always say just pay attention to these, these anime profile pics, and they be making memes like this, and you get the rundown on what's going on with these young kids. Right here. And I'll say this, guys, can y'all stop trying to be friends with women, bro. Respect, and I say this respectfully, stop trying to be friends with women. Especially when you know you already like her. Especially if you know you're attracted to her. You know there's an attraction there. It's not a friend thing. It's like there's no female friends out here. Stop it. And what happens is these guys they'll have these female friends, and then they'll just give them all the confidence in the world, give them all the game, and the women will still destroy themselves. And then really, instead of you saying, I told you so, and still trying to give her advice, you're really just supposed to just let her be. But these dudes, they think by giving her advice and trying to tell her what kind of guy to actually go after, he thinks that eventually that she's going to look for a guy like him, which is him. But the actuality is she wants the male orbiter. She wants your personality into the guy that's 6'6" with that's skinny and has tattoos. She wants your personality into a guy that has 6'2", that's 6'2" and has tattoos all over the place. That's what she wants. So when she's talking about, oh, I wish I could meet a guy like you, that's really your cue to be like, oh, she's not into me. That's your cue right there. But most dudes, they just want to torture themselves and then argue with me that I don't know what I'm talking about, but you're torturing yourselves. I'm literally taking your hand away from the stove and you're fighting me. Like, I'm talking about fighting, like literally fighting me. And I'm saving you. I'm taking your hand away. I'm keeping you. I'm taking I'm basically taking the poison drink from your hand and you're fighting me. This is what these young kids do. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm not gonna say I haven't been guilty of the same when I was in 8th grade, but trust me, a female friend, nah, it ain't it. Unless if she's like plugged. I mean, unless if you're doing something that, what I'm doing, where I'm just cool with I'm cool with certain females, but they're not my friends. They don't even have my number, but I'm cool with them. Right? Unless because there's a difference between a friendship and you just being an acquaintance or you're cool with them. Unless if you know the game and you know how to call up a female friend to help you get into certain spots that the average man can't get into, but if she's a pretty female, she can get into that spot. That's a whole different part of the game. But let's be honest, y'all, most of these dudes, they want to be with these girls, they want to fuck them. That's what they want to do. Because there's a way that you could use them to get what you want, but these dudes, they still want to fuck them, and that's going to complicate the whole thing. You guys got to be honest with yourself. Because I don't give advice to none of my female acquaintances when it comes to boys or my female relatives, because I'm just a believer of a hoe's gonna do whatever she wants anyways. It's either you're gonna learn the hard way or you're gonna be wise and learn from other hoes' mistakes. That's what you're gonna do. And a woman, at the end of the day, women know the guys that are not going to treat them bad. They know. They brag about it. I've seen hoes make TikTok after video after clip of them bragging about how they know nice guys. They know the guys that's gonna give them the world, but they still give them the ick. and for some reason people can't put two and two together. So when you see a girl in that situation where she's really in a bad situation with a guy and she can't quote unquote escape, that's on her. That's on her. That's not your job to say I told you so. That's not your job to say she didn't know better. No, she knew exactly what she was doing for the most part. And once you put that out there, you'll be surprised the type of decisions that a hoe will make. Pyro the Flame King says, I don't get it though. What's so beneficial about having a female friend? The only way it's really beneficial is if she's plugged. Like, say if she's in the industry or something. But most dudes, they're not rolling. Like they trying to smash. Especially the young dudes, they trying to smash. So most dudes are not strategic enough to use a bitch for promotional purposes only. They, even if they are in the middle of using the bitch for promotional purposes, they're gonna try to smash. This is what I used to do. Like, I used to be like, when I was a cashier, right? And I'll be working at a department. I would specifically ask to work with certain women because I knew they garnered male attention. So it would take me off the hook. So say if I was messing up or say I didn't want to do nothing, I could just refer the customer to the prettier lady and she would end up with most of the work. So the problem is people started catching on to what I was doing. Particularly the head cashier at the time, she caught on to what I was doing. And I was like, why are you always trying to get out of blah blah blah? I'm not getting out of okay, so what are you gonna do? You're gonna help? And she was kind of, the way she was rewording these questions on me, I was like, oh, she knows what I'm doing. She knows exactly what I'm doing. It was certain females I would be like, oh yeah, I don't mind. Oh yeah, have me out there with her. And they just thought I was just being confident, but really they saw what I was doing. They saw that when I'm there and I got a pretty lady working with me, she's gonna get all the dudes in the line and all the fucked up orders and all all these dudes with the long ass orders, so I don't got to deal with it. So I can just get all the nice and easy, simple things and be on my phone. But most people are not savvy enough to do that because they're gonna spend their time trying to flirt with the bitch in the booth. They're gonna spend their time they're gonna overwork themselves. They're gonna try to, if the female cashier needs help with something, the dude is gonna try to the other male cashier is gonna try to help her out, abandon his task to help her. I didn't do none of that. You know what I mean? So people started catching on. People started catching on. They're like, nah, Chris, you can be out there. You just go out there by yourselves. You don't need help. I'll be like, nah, I need help. People started catching on. They started catching on. But anyway, most people are not even set. They don't even want to do they don't even want to do that for that. Because they found out that like it'll be certain girls out there with me, and the girls was helping the customers put the mulch in their car, even though as a dude I'm supposed to be doing it, but it was them doing that. And people started finding out that I was just basically laying back and just I was just letting it happen because I didn't want to do none of that. But like I say, usually when men are working with women, they just naturally want to do things for her. So that's why I always say there's no real female friendship out here. It's mostly going to be the man doing most of the work and the man exerting himself, doing the most, right? And plus, I kind of learned my lesson from working at the theater, so that's kind of where that came from. But anyways, moving on. I wanted to also show you another point. I wanted to show you guys another point with this. It should be on my saved. It should be on my saved, but this is interesting. I'm gonna show you one post, and then it's gonna be another post that's gonna lead up to Sha'Carri Richardson. So this is gonna be very powerful. So let's show this specific post. Where is it at? Oh, right here. Right here. Right here. This is gonna trigger you guys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna apologize to you in advance, but I gotta show this. I gotta show this to you guys. You guys must stand. You guys must be strong when you see this. You need to be strong. So here we have a woman. Not her. It's gonna be another broad. There's gonna be a woman here. She's gonna say she hates being with the safe guy, regardless of what he does for her. So this is very this is very interesting. Let's hear her out.
You hate the safe guy. Why?
Because I don't like them. And I'm faking the funk. And I find it really hard to do that.
Okay.
Because I'm a cringer. An invisible one.
Mm-hmm.
Like the safe guy is usually somebody you're not sexually attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
Usually somebody that, like, they'll do anything for you. They'll come running, they'll do this and that.
Yeah.
Am I gonna get a copyright strike for the music in the background? I hope not, but I'm gonna let it play.
But then when you gotta reciprocate some type of energy to thank them for that, you be like,
yeah,
that's me, and I visibly cringe. And like, imagine a nigga trying to give you a kiss and you recoil like that. Like,
I know. You hate the safe.
Oh man. I hope you guys were able to stand strong with this one. You must stay strong. But let's do a replay of this. I want to do a replay of this. You guys must stand strong. Stand strong, brothers. Stand strong. Stand strong. Let's change the playback speed of this one. Right here. Let's start this one all the way over.
You hate the safe guy. Why?
Because I don't like them. And I'm faking the funk. And I find it really hard to do that.
Okay.
So, off rip, she's keeping it a buck. I don't like the safe guy. Now, obviously, we already know that's going to change when she gets older, right? So, the women that are going to say she's an idiot is going to be women that are 40 years old and plus, and they already have kids from they have 3 kids from 5 different dads. So, of course, they're going to say, oh, I want a nice guy. No, we're not talking about you, ladies. y'all are past your prime. Of course, if you're 50 plus, you want a nice, of course. We talking about the women that matter. So you're talking about women that are basically 35 and under, or really younger than that. But I'm giving them grace because you have different races of women. They age at a different rate. So we're gonna say we're talking about women that are, basically, Gen Z, basically Gen Z women and younger. Those are the women that we're focused on, and those women, when it comes to picking a guy, and obviously all women from all different generations have a problem with this, but focusing on usually women in their 20s, they don't like the safe guy until it's too late, right? So shout out to her for being honest you know. So I got to give props to her for that.
Because I'm a cringer, an invisible one.
Mm-hmm.
Like the safe guy is usually somebody you're not sexually attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
Usually somebody that, like, they'll do anything for you. They'll come running, they'll do this and that.
Yeah.
So specifically where she said the safe guy is usually somebody that I'm not sexually attracted to, but specifically I wanted to focus on the part where she says she knows that he'll do anything for you, right? They'll come running, they'll do anything for you, right? So right here,
They'll do anything for you. They'll come running, they'll do this and that.
Yeah.
But then when you got to reciprocate some type of energy to thank them for that, you be like,
ooh, that hurts. That hurts. I know for the decent guys out there, that hurts. That hurts. But at least she's being honest. At least she's being honest. And one thing I gotta, I always try to tell dudes, I don't want dudes shaming women for being honest. It's just your job as a man, as a person, to just receive the information and be like, okay, that's what it is. It is what it is. So the next time you see a woman in a messed up situation, or she's 32 years old, 2 kids, the baby daddy's in and out of jail, he's abusive, you don't feel the need to feel bad for her. Respect, and I say that respectfully. I say that respectfully, because people will be like, oh my God, how can you not feel bad for her? Well, one of the common patterns that we're seeing when women start talking about the nice guy or the safe guy, especially they're in their 20s, they know how to identify these guys early on. They know how to identify these, so they know who they are. She knows who's gonna actually help her out. She knows who means well. She knows who means well for her, and she knows who's a wild card. And most women are going to choose wild cards. Let's keep it a buck. They're going to choose the wild card. I don't even want to just talk about abusive. They're just going to choose the wild card. If it comes to a dude that's 6'2" and a nice guy, and a guy that's 5'11" or 5'10", but he's a quote unquote bad boy, she's going to choose the bad boy, believe it or not. She's going to keep the 6'2" guy on the wings. And if the 6'2" guy, the 6'2" nice guy, say if he asks, if he asks her hand in marriage, she's gonna accept, but she's gonna text, 5'10" bad boy, hey, dude asked me to marry him. What do you think? She's gonna send that text to her bad boy side piece, or bad boy boyfriend number 2 that she's been hiding from the 6'2" nice guy. That's what's gonna happen. So this is how it works. And just understand this. They know how to identify the dudes that will help them, the dudes that actually mean well for them, the dudes that will actually help her elevate in life. And one of the other things too is, one of the reasons why they stay away from safe guys or nice guys per se is because they have to reciprocate. They have to be nice back. And the problem is, a lot of men are trying to be nice to women that are demons. Okay. But the thing is, most women are not necessarily moral or immoral, they're amoral. Right? So I've already gone over that with you. So it's not easy to just find a nice girl per se, because a lot of nice girls you're going to find are hoes, believe it or not, especially in today's age. So, or sorry, sluts. So because a nice girl can be a slut. A nice girl could be a girl that been passed around. So to find a good woman per se, that's not something that you can just get. That's one of those first come, first serve type of things. It's not just something that you can just target.
Reciprocate some type of energy to thank them for that.
Yeah.
You be like,
Yeah.
that's me, and I visibly cringe. And like, imagine a nigga trying to give you a kiss and you recoil like that. Like,
I know.
So like I said, the safe guy is usually somebody that she's not attracted to. And then on top of that, if you're the safe or nice guy, she doesn't want to reciprocate back. And she's trying to play it off as just, it's an attraction thing. But really, it's an accountability thing. Because when you have a person that's being good to you, you have a person that's doing right by you. If you're a good person, you do right by them back. And women are not trying to have that kind of responsibility, accountability at that young of an age. They're not trying to do that. They're not trying to do that. That's why they like being with the drug dealer, the scam artist, the person that's always in trouble, because they get to have their fun with the guy. And then when things go wrong, she's the victim. Okay. Somebody said, I hope these types never find me. Somebody said she's a solid 2 on a good day. I mean, they could shame her all she wants. I'm happy that she's being honest about how she feels. Somebody said, but as soon as she got a gang of kids, it'll be, where are the good men? But it is what it is. And this is why even back then, this is why their fathers had to pick their husbands, or the fathers had to pick their boyfriends, because they're going to cringe, right? She says she's a cringer, so she's going to cringe at the guy that treats her right. And it even calls into question when you have these women of the past talk about, how like they talk about how these dudes was beating up on them in the 1950s and the 1940s and 1930s, and how these dudes were doing this to them and that to them and being abusive. It really, the more you hear women talk out loud about these things, it makes you wonder in the past, like, even during that time, did you shun the nice guy? Did you put him on the holding queue? Did you put him on the wait list and not really take him seriously until you thought you got knocked up? That's a whole other story that a lot of people are not willing to get at. Somebody says she deserves the life that she asked for. But I'm gonna just say this. She's just being honest about it. I'm pretty sure I believe most women operate that way, especially in America. I'll say especially in America, because there are laws where it assists her to whatever path that she chooses. She gets to be the victim and she can get some money out of it. So it doesn't even matter what a woman are naturally attracted to. If there are laws that say, look, there's no child support, mandatory DNA test, she's going to have to make a decision. It doesn't matter what you're naturally attracted to, because there's a lot of things men are naturally attracted to. But if it comes to a choice of, okay, can I choose the skinny girl? Can I choose? Do I choose the skinny chick, body count of 20, grew up with a broken family, or should I get this other chick, no, 0 body count, a bit chubby, but she's a good-natured woman? Dudes is gonna be like, okay, let me just see if I can find something attractive with this chubby chick, and they'll try to make it work, because they know girl option number A is going to give him financial problems and give him serious problems where he's going to have to pay for it in the future. So it doesn't matter what you're naturally attracted to or what you want. If you have the laws there to assist you, if you have the laws to assist your bad decision making, what do you think women are going to choose? There's no incentives. There's no incentive for a woman to choose the right guy. Even like we even talk about, black girls, why a lot of them, they'll choose hood ninjas and not the good dudes. But what ends up happening is there's no incentive for a woman that grew up in a rough area to choose a good dude, because that good dude, the good black dude, he's going to get pulled over more by the cops. He's going to his path to success is literally way harder. People are not going to give him the time of day. He's got to work for everything. The girl is going to have to work for everything. There's no they make it impossible. The systems around you, it's impossible for the average man just trying to do the right thing or just trying to do the right thing. They're gonna make it damn near impossible unless if he decides to move out of that area or decides to date a different race of girl. If not him and whatever black girl that decides to be with him, their life is going to be hard. Garrett Grant said, of course, the nice guy has to finish last and the chaos comes first. Garrett Grant said, just let them reap what their decisions sow. And this is where we come in when we tell dudes it's better to just choose something different. If you're in a situation where you're dealing with a lot of women that have that kind of mentality, go somewhere else where they don't. That's always been my solution. Even when people talk about, it'll be dudes going through baby mama troubles and how they got to fight for their kids, quote unquote, fight. And I always say, you're actually helping the system by quote unquote fighting, because all the money's going to go to the lawyers. All the money's going to go through the court system. So of course they encourage people to quote unquote fight. I always say this, unless you're not willing to fight dirty, don't fight. Either get full custody or just wash your hands. And when we talk about gaining full custody, I mean, you're doing whatever it takes. And I don't care if it's foul plays involved. You're doing whatever it takes to get custody of your kids. Because best believe me, just the fact that the woman has a case on you, she's playing dirty on you. Off rip. So it's a matter of what you want to do. Yep. Long live the king said they weren't prepared for dudes to stop being the simp stepdaddies, but that time is here. So I believe, this is now the culmination. This is the sum where, yes, they're living in the feminists are living in the dreamland, but what they thought that the male sex drive would always be enough for them to always come back to the plantation. And the powers that may be are panicking because the men are not stepping in. They're not quote unquote or stepping up. Men don't want to be stepdads no more. Men are staying away from these women. Or if you do have an American man that does want to start a family, he either imports the girl from another country or he goes to the other country and he stays there. Because importing the bitch, that don't do nothing. because what's happening a lot, you see, there's a lot, you're seeing it in the Olympics, where you got these dudes, these dudes and these girls, they were born in America, but the husband or their dad imported the woman from the other country, or the girl came from the other country and she just happens to be in America, and they're getting chose. And then when it comes time for the child to represent a country, they're not representing their father's country, they're representing their mother's country. So it's everything now. We're seeing the consequences of all these things. We're seeing the consequences of this. I remember showing you guys a story where it was like one of the top female soccer prospects, but she decided in the U.S. youth soccer ranks, but she ended up representing Guatemala instead of the USA. And I was like, oh, let me guess, American dad, Guatemalan mother. I was like, yeah, let me guess. Yep, it was a Caucasian dude, white dad, Guatemalan mother. And you're seeing more and more of this. You're just seeing more and more of this. And mind you, he didn't go to Guatemala. The woman is from Guatemala, but men are opting to choose that type of a woman. Oh man, yeah. Long live the king said they're still in shock and disbelief that dudes have overall stopped simping. Yeah, they're in shock, and they talk about this. You like, let me show you another quick video, because they seem to be shocked. They're like, dudes, they stopped, right? They're begging dudes to approach again and all this nonsense. But I don't think it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work, especially with everything that has been implemented. It's just not that stuff, like the simping is not going to work. Or say if a dude approaches a woman and he finds out she has a kid, he's going to quietly make his exit. And it's the mentality is so spread out, so much so that you have, women like what's her name? The sprinkle lady. When she gives advice to women, she tells the woman, don't tell the guy that you're dating that you have kids. Just love bomb him enough so when he finds out, he can't do nothing about it. So that already that shows you that in this current dating marketplace, when dudes are finding out she has kids, they're not doing it. They're not doing it. So the country has a problem on his hands. Watch this clip.
With men, I don't know. I wanted to ask you, men don't come up and ask or talk to you anymore. There was this cute guy. He went to the bar at one point. So I was like, oh, let me go to the bar too. So I saddled up next to him at the bar and kind of gave a look, and he looked right at me and then looked away. I was like, okay, well, never mind. I was seeing something that apparently wasn't actually happening. And as we left, one of the other bachelorettes on this trip was like, oh my gosh, that guy kept looking at you. Did you guys talk? I was like, wait, what? You saw it too? I guess I could have said, hi, how are you? I don't know why I didn't. I guess I was like, I made that move. Meet me the other 75% of the way or whatever it is.
It is becoming like that. I think that there's a shift in it. And honestly, women have to take more of the reins in a way. Maybe we should have a man on and ask him what that's like. Why don't they do that?
A dating expert.
Is there a dating expert man that would like to come on this podcast?
I can't remember many times.
What dating male? The only one they're going to find is sorry, that's, I learned to stop. I got to stop doing that. The only dating male expert that they're gonna have come on there is gonna be a gay. They're gonna have a gay man come up on there, because the one time they one of these white girls they screwed up inviting that black dude, that married black dude. I forgot what his name. He's been going viral lately. They messed up and had him come on the podcast, and he started spitting facts. And that black male therapist that been going viral, they only had they messed up and put him on gave him airtime, and now they can't take it back. Now they can't take it back because they didn't realize how based or how level-headed he was, how much facts he came with. So they're not gonna get a guy like that on there. They're gonna try to find a guy that's light in the loafers. Ain't no straight male dating coach or dating male expert is gonna come on this show.
Like, I've been approached, and that has been like hard on my self-confidence because I've seen it happen to my friends, specifically like these two friends that are like drop dead gorgeous, like fit all the beauty standards, like petite. Obviously I'm not like harping on them, but I'm always just like, why doesn't that happen to me? Am I like intimidating somehow? Am I putting off like a
Bruh, you're not intimidating. Oh, Lord have mercy. Ain't nobody afraid of hoes, dog. They need to stop this. they need to stop this. Or am I giving off like a certain vibe? Yes. That, but there's no like people say, hey, there's no incentive for women to be with a good man, or well, there's no incentive for men to really associate with women at all. In 2025, there's basically zero incentive for men to be just to be associating with women. They don't even want to have kids anymore. So what's the so what's the incentive? What's the incentive for a man to be with you, especially when you've already pushed them away? So much so that you've had movements, you've had hashtags, and then on top of that, that TikTok thing doesn't help. And they don't, like, the hoes, they don't even realize the reason why the government wants to take away TikTok is because of you hoes. You've been they're like, man, why do they want to take TikTok away from us so bad? Because y'all are literally with your videos, with your messages, with your messaging. Dudes is looking at these videos and they're hearing what they're saying. And they're just like, dude, what in the hell? What is wrong with these hoes? Right? Now they're just talking at the end of the day, because at the end of the day, in real life, they're not saying this stuff in real life. But the stuff that you're saying on social media, the platforms that you got, especially TikTok, that's one of the main reasons. They're not gonna say it, but that's low-key one of the main reasons why they want to take TikTok away from the American public, is because the women have taken over it and they have completely pushed men away with their content. Completely.
certain vibe. I like to be like, it's just my height, I guess. And I'm just too broad of shoulders for someone to approach me. But like, I've been approached by women. And so I wonder if it really is, it's almost switching these days. Like, people are just changing.
Oh yeah, that's the rugby bish. I was like, don't I recognize this one? That's the rugby bish. But anyways, somebody said, so you walked up to the bar, sat down and did nothing. Cool story, bro. It's funny how in this video they'd even recommend, maybe we have to be the one that has to approach. You know what I mean? It's like I said, it's not even a solution. It's not even a solution. It's not even a solution for them to do the approaching. Pyro says, I'm convinced that they didn't want to take TikTok down because of the spyware. I think I really think they won't admit it. But one of them, because you've seen other countries, they've taken down certain platforms, or you'll even see like Russia or one of these countries, they took down OnlyFans in Russia, if I'm not mistaken. They just took it. So why would they take down OnlyFans? Because it's the women They see what the women are doing on there, and they're just like, oh no, this is going to destabilize everything that we've been working towards. And then on top of that, because Russia's already dealing with a fertility crisis themselves, so it's countries are looking at the writing on the wall, because at the end of the day, it's an arms race, and part of the arms race is the population. How much you got in your population? That's part of the arms race. That's all it is. Anywho, let's go into this. Is going to go straight into this story that I'm about to show you. I don't know if Pyro is familiar with this story because it's based in Jamaica. So right here, I'm reading from the Jamaica Observer. Okay. Jamaica's number one daily newspaper. So I don't know if this is an international news per se or just a Jamaica problem. But here, because this is startling for it to even be news. This is how you know this is a problem. So the headline reads, "Cougars on the prowl. Women preying on schoolboys at sport events, warns children's advocate." So for it to even get to that point, that means this is a problem. Women preying on schoolboys at sports events, warns children's advocate. Children's advocate Diane Gordon Harrison is urging parents and coaches to be on the lookout for women who frequent sporting events and prey on young boys for gratification. While Gordon Harrison told the Jamaica Observer it is too early to describe this as a trend, she said coaches at the community level have noted the behavior and she became aware of it approximately 2 years ago. Okay. She says, give an eye here because we're seeing when we have our little football matches or basketball matches and so on, and we are seeing grown women in their 30s and 40s who are not parents. They're actually there because they are interested in the footballers who are still students. Now, this is something to keep an eye on for particularly when you're talking about Jamaica. For them to have that put on notice, all that talk about men are the predators, men are the ones looking at high schoolers, because it's already off rip when they see a man in these professions where they're dealing with young girls or they're coaching young girls. There's always going to be somebody that has an eye on them because they're going to be like, what are you doing? So now they're saying it's such a problem with the women that they're noticing that you got these old broads. They're at these high school. There's old broads at these high school games scouting. That you know that means it's a huge problem. That means it's a way bigger problem than people give it credit for. If you got women, if you have other women calling it out, that means this is a huge problem. This is very interesting. I'm going to repeat it again. It says children's advocate Diane Gordon is urging parents and coaches to be on the lookout for women who frequent sporting events and prey on young boys for gratification. And I'll say this, that includes young girls as well. That includes young girls as well. She said, give an eye here because we're seeing when we have our little football matches or basketball matches, we are seeing grown women in their 30s and 40s who are not parents. So what does that mean? Remember, they said by the year 2030, over half of the women are going that are over 30 and up are going to be single and childless. What are they going to do? This. They're gonna be the new. You see, remember when we talk about on Family Guy? What's that boy's name? Herbert the pervert. Remember Herbert the pervert? Remember this guy? So we're gonna have a lot of these, but in female form. A lot of Herbert the pervert type women, right? So that's what she's saying. So we're seeing a shift now. We're seeing a shift because usually it's usually most men are single and childless when you talk about throughout the history of time. But now you have, and then when you look at the history of time, 90% of women have procreated. 90%, or sorry, near 90% of women throughout time have procreated. So that means there's been a time where they're never really alone. So now you're going to have these new batch of women that are single and alone. What are they going to do? They're not going to be productive. They're going to be doing this. She's saying that she's seeing women that are in their 30s and 40s going to these high school athletic events, and they're doing scouting for their prey. And I want you to look at some of the comments. Right? They said that's not cougarism, that's pedophilia. And then you're going to have one of these boys in the comments saying, boys love that. Somebody else came in and said, what the F? Can we call it by its correct term, pedophilia? And then here you have a woman. She makes the comment, what about the young boys looking at older women? Interesting. Now that the shoe is flipped, now she's doing the victim blaming. Like I said, it's all projection. It's all projection. Now, this is where it's our opportunity as men to be like, oh, you trying to make an excuse. Somebody said, I see it too in the comments, especially when it's track season, grown women lusting at teen boys. And I'll say this, anybody that's been to a swimming event, a high school swimming event, I'm talking about specifically a male high school swimming event, women, or particularly moms, they be pervs. They just don't ever get called out for it. But now it's going to be even worse, basically. Somebody said, yeah, this woman, she said, this is pedophilia, not cougarism, because these are underage boys. But like I said, we have fostered an environment where we're not even brave enough to call them we're not even brave enough to call women pedophiles. And just men are predators. That's it. We're just used to just men, only men are predators. And young boys can't be victims of female predators. But I will say that specifically men have fostered this environment because we have not held women accountable. It doesn't matter if she's going to take accountability. Who gives a F? You as a man, you got to hold them accountable. But most men are not doing that. When there's a boy victim involved, they say lucky the young boy is lucky. If it's a 25-year-old teacher with a 14-year-old boy, they say that the boy is lucky. if you have a boy that's 10 years old and is a one of these 19-year-old chicks that's babysitting and she's sleeping with that boy, they call it a relationship, not grape, right? So men have fostered this environment, and men are part of the problem when it comes to this because they have not held female predators accountable. So now they just think it's okay. You got because we already know, even me as a man, I know I can't just show up, just me as a man showing up by myself to a high school. No, forget a high school. If me as a man at 27, if I just show up to a college female soccer match just by myself, just show up, people are going to be looking at me weird. And mind you, you're talking about those are adults playing, mind you, those are adults. But if I just show up to as a man by myself and I don't have a sister or a female relative that's participating and I'm just showing up by myself and I'm showing up to I'm talking about a college female athletic event, people are going to have the eye on me. But for the women that are in their 30s and 40s, and she's saying that they're coming out in droves and they think that they're doing nothing wrong, that just shows this is good. This is going to be a real problem. So, back in the days, you would just only watch out for the dudes doing these things. I'm talking about there's no more, okay, I'm gonna just drop my son off to Miss Johnson's house or Mrs. Smith's house, and you're not even, because you're just thinking as a woman, as a nurturer, right? You just naturally think, as you're looking at a woman, she's a nurturer. She's never going to harm my child. Those days are done. Those days are done. Men, woman, transformer, everybody's suspect. You can't just leave your kid at a person's house, no matter if it's a man or a woman nowadays. And now the word is getting out. So now you can't trust nobody now. It's either relatives or bust. Because you know how, like, back in the day, it'll be like moms, they'll meet up, right? And they'll strike up a friendship real quick and they'll be like, can I just leave my son at your house real quick? Those days, nope, no more. And they will even trust the house more if it is a single mom, right? But those days are done. Those days are done. Because now you have this growing populace of 30-year-olds, 40-year-old, because this is not just happening in Jamaica. let's not get it twisted. Remember what Brittany Renner said when she was talking about how she was seeing, how she was basically scouting PJ Washington when he was a kid, basically. She was scouting PJ Washington since college, when he was 18, probably even 17. Because he was coming from the University of Kentucky. You already know University of Kentucky, they just do one and dones. So PJ Washington could not be no more than 19 years old. And that's where Brittany Renner said that's where she tried to get him. Oh, man. But like I said, now, especially when you got women or you have female, what is it, a female child advocate coming out and saying like, yo, the days of just, it's just men you got to watch out for, those days are over. Those days, man, hey, man, those days are over. So right here, somebody said this been happening for, you have a woman right here saying this. She says, this has been happening for a long time. People report it less because they see the male child as a star boy, gallist, chick magnet. It's glorified behavior from even some of the parents. And like I said, you should, like, I've been to a couple, male swimming events in high school, track events, and some of the stuff I've heard from the grown women, if dudes was even saying if any of the older males were saying anything close to that, people would be putting them on a registry or on a checklist. I'm talking about anything similar to how they were commenting. They will put them on a checklist. This is true. Right. So, oh, wow. So Pyro said this has been happening for years, Chris. It took this long for them to find out. Wow. Wow. So because when I'm seeing her comments on it, I'm like, that means this is getting like this. That means this is a really bad problem now if they're going to report it. Because you already know when they start reporting on females doing dirt, that's when you know it's bad. That's when you know it's like really bad. Wow. So Pyro's saying this has been happening for the longest. Damn. So Pyro goes on to say, yes, even the female teachers be bagging the boys, saying they are getting extra lessons. Damn. And he said, Jamaican men have a no snitch rule. So this is a huge problem. This is a way bigger problem than expected. And I believe this. I don't think this is just happening in Jamaica. I think this is also happening in the United States. But this is something I want to put out there. This is definitely something I want to put out there. And I even said this when it came to the teachers, right? When I was talking about my all teachers are thoughts videos, right? I was trying to tell dudes or parents. I made a PSA to the parents. I said, parents, if you have a son that is a athlete or he's a Chad, or you have one of those sons that garner female attention, or you have one of those tall, awkward kids that struggles with women, please watch out for you need to make sure you vet your female teachers. You need to really vet your female teachers and vet them gay male teachers as well. And I'm gonna leave it at that. Because I'm seeing like single moms where they're talking about, I had to take my kid out of the school. They wilding. And she said, I don't even want to talk about it. And I'm like, oh, I already know what happened. It's not even like there's certain things. It's not even school related. I'm like, oh, I know what happened. I know exactly what happened. Let me see. Long Live the King said, it's sad, but I know a few guys that lost their virginity to their mom or aunt's friend. Damn. But they don't realize they're violated. And I'll say this too. I remember it was a white dude on Twitter, and he got a lot of flack for this, but he said he was talking about black dudes. And he was saying, like, I can't believe the amount of black dudes I see on Twitter bragging about how they lost their virginity to their gargantuan obese step aunt when they were 10 years old, and the aunt was 44 years old, and they're bragging to me about how they lost their virginity early. Now, he was obviously being facetious by using that example, but I knew what he was talking about. I knew exactly what he was talking about. This, like, you'll have men brag about being victims. And I'm talking about these guys are in their 30s, 40s. And you're like, bro, Like you 35, you 36, and you still bragging about getting violated as a kid by a woman? That's not something to brag about. You know? Pyro says, Chris, you can't tell a woman that a young man was lucky he got mashed by his teacher, that women will look at you and him as gullible souls and shake her head. So you can't even trust older women now and think it was these 20 plus 30 plus year old women doing these unthinkable acts. Because the danger with these women now is because back then, well, no, this is what happened. Because with dudes, these dudes that do these things to these kids, they know what they're doing is wrong. They know what they're doing is wrong, so they try to keep it private. So you can never really catch somebody, particularly a male, that's doing that. So it's something that you really got to find out if a dude is doing these kind of things. But with the women, they don't even think they're doing anything wrong. They're just, oh, it's whatever. They don't see themselves as predators. And then what's crazy about it is, because even the drug dealers that are with underage girls, they understand they got to pay the bitch. They understand they got to pay her. Or if you see a man, when you see an older man with a younger woman in general, they know they got to pay. They know they got to give some kind of money. These dudes, what they want these dudes to do is they want the young dudes that they stalked and honed in on and victimized. They want that same man that they victimized to still pay their bills and still pay for them. Yep. Long live the king said, aunties ain't auntieing no more. They on demon time. Yep. It's no more creepy step uncle or creepy uncle, even though they're still there, or creepy grandpa. It's now creepy aunt, creepy step aunt, creepy female babysitter. Wild. Shout out to Long Live the King with the $5 super chat.
We got money, nigga! We got money, nigga! We got money, nigga! We got money, nigga!
So Long Live the King says, shout out to the truth you be kicking, man. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Somebody's got to say it. Somebody's got to say it. And this is something that, because I already know I don't know if there's people in this chat that have kids, or if you have a nephew, or if you have, just please watch out for the young boys, because people like to say, you'll have parents say, oh, I'd rather have boys than girls, because you got to really watch out for the girls. No, I disagree with that. I think people would rather have boys as kids because they feel like they don't have to watch them. And I've never agreed with that. Whatever kid that comes out, boy or girl, you need to watch them like a hawk. Especially in their younger years, their formative years. These are very delicate years. Whether you have a girl or a boy, you need to be watching them. But there's a lot of you even hear a lot of moms say this. I'd rather have a boys because I don't have to watch. No. Like, you need to watch. You need to watch them, boy or a girl. Because if it's a little girl, they're already being watched. It's almost, it's a given somebody's got the eye out on them. But there's this thing where they're just, if you're a young boy, oh, you'll be fine. And the predators usually prey on kids that they think is not, they don't got nobody have that they don't have anybody watching their back. Those are the kids that they usually go after. But in the same breath, we'll talk about, oh, I love having young boys, or I'd rather have a young boy if I get pregnant because I don't have to watch him. And you're like, bro, are you serious? And especially in the age that we living in now, you got all these bitches that's finna be over 30 with no kids, no, they low key. We gotta start watching hoes like that. It's really gotta be honed in, and especially for Pyro to say this has been happening for years and nobody's really been, nobody's put it on blast until now. That's wild. That's wild. That means the problem is way worse than even reported. It's way worse. OJ Desire said they're complaining that they're born in the wrong generation of men. At the end of the day, those hoes, they like, it don't matter where they think the money's gonna come from. They just want money. That's all. Shout out to Garrett Grant with the $10 super chat.
We got money, niggas. I mean, nigga people. Oh, Lord. We got money, niggas. We got money, niggas.
I would have been swallowed up. Have you ever been swallowed up? Have you gone through a time of swallowing where everything was overwhelming and
Shout out to Garrett Grant for the $10 super chat. But please keep an eye out for your nephews, or if you work with young boys, please keep an eye out in this age. And you can't, like I said, you can't just rule out hoes. You can't rule out the women no more. You have to really, like, the way you would vet out a male babysitter or a young male teacher. You know, they always try to make sure, oh, is that male teacher, is he married? Is he gay? Is he that same questioning? You're gonna have to start doing that with the female teachers now. You have to. There's no more shortcuts. You have to be watching your kids. All these excuses that people make to not do their job as parents, that shit has to stop. Like, for real. But you know, it is what it is. People don't want to do the job. But speaking of female predators, now let's go into Sha'Carri Richardson. Right? Let's go into Sha'Carri Richardson. So with her, let me see. Are they going to show the whole thing? Let me let this play out. But anyways, so Sha'Carri Richardson, she has recently been arrested for DV, for putting her hands on her boyfriend in the airport. And the situation was so bad where the police came in, and usually when DV happens, usually they'll just bring both people in, but they'll tend to hedge their bets on the man. But once they saw the video from the airport, they went straight to Sha'Carri Richardson and arrested her. And then according to the reports, they were saying that she was hitting him, she was assaulting him, she was pushing him. He was trying to walk away from her, and she was still attacking him. So this is some, you know, this is interesting. But let's look at this summary right here. Okay. Sha'Carri Richardson arrested in alleged domestic violence incident. The U.S. track star was arrested at the Seattle Tacoma International Airport. She was involved in a verbal altercation with a male companion, the police report stated, which is Christian Coleman, who's also a track star. Richardson allegedly pushed the man and he fell into a nearby column, according to the Seattle Police Department. Right? These are the details of the incident. She was booked and released the next day, jail records show, and she was released the next day because Christian Coleman decided not to press charges. Okay. Says and then right here, USA Track and Field, they were asked to give a statement. They said, we are aware of the report and we have no comment at this time. Now, it's interesting. We already know she's not going to get suspended. She's not going to get suspended. We're not going to see no think pieces from, umpteenth men or women. We're not going to get no commercials. And Christian Coleman is clearly a victim. And the way he defended Sha'Carri Richardson, his girlfriend, the way he defended her, you can tell this was not the first time she put her hands on him. Okay? Right here, it says Christian Coleman defended Sha'Carri Richardson after an alleged incident at the Tacoma International Airport in which Richardson was arrested for DV, according to the police report obtained by US Today Sports. Police say Coleman was the victim in the incident. And then Coleman goes on to say, for me personally, I feel like it was a sucky situation all around. I don't feel like she should have been arrested. I mean, people have discussions and emotions and stuff like that. She has things that she needs to work on for herself, of course. So do I, so do you, so does everybody. But I'm the type of guy who's in the business of extending grace, mercy, and love. Now, if this was reversed, they would say that, black women aren't protected, right? They would say this is a person suffering from Stockholm syndrome, right? These are the things that they would say. And it's interesting, the response to the news. This is what I want to show. This is really what I want to show people. Right? I'm going to bring up these separate posts. I'm going to, let me put these posts. I'm going to open up two separate posts from the Shade Room, right? And I just want you to see the response, right? Two separate Shade Room posts of the situation. Because I want you to show you how unapologetic, particularly black women, are about this situation. I want to show you guys this. This is very interesting. Okay. Oh man. And right after we covered Sha'Carri Richardson, I got one more video to wrap this whole thing up. But this is coming together perfectly. I'm trying to bring up the initial. I want to bring up the initial post where Sha'Carri Richardson initially got arrested. There was an initial post I wanted to show. We gotta find it though. Here we go. This thing right here. We need to show this. We definitely need to show this. Okay. So this is the initial Shade Room report when she initially got arrested and when they showed the alleged details of what happened, right? So in the description box, it shows to the normies, look, Richardson, she was the aggressor, right? They show the report. It shows her being booked. This is the court order, the booking list, right? Said the case has since been cleared and Richardson was released on Monday. Per the report, Coleman refused to press charges and he declined to be a victim. So here, I'm going to zoom in on the comments. And I want you guys to see how much jokes people are making of this. So right here, you got one woman. She says, imagine trying to run from the danger and the danger catches you, right? And somebody put in the comments, the woman in here already saying stuff like he triggers her, no accountability. And you're going to see a lot of these comments where there were women on Twitter I saw and on Instagram here where they blamed Christian Coleman for Sha'Carri Richardson putting her hands on him. It's crazy how the roles have reversed. It's wild. Somebody said everybody finds this ish funny, but let this story be the other way around. Somebody said it's funny because we know he ran and she kept up with him the whole time. So people they say that's funny now until it's the reversed. Somebody said, so we have a woman here. She says, and she better get dragged the same way y'all would drag him had he been the one doing this. I'm so glad men are no longer taking the BS and having women arrested. Enough is enough. Being a woman does not excuse you justifying you putting your hands on a man. Right? And I'm pretty sure they're going to call her a pick-me in the comments because she doesn't want men to be abused. I bet you. Watch this. You see somebody goes, he'll be all right. Oh, wow. So here you have a woman basically saying, it doesn't matter. He's a man. He can take it. Now, it's crazy how the roles have reversed. It's crazy how the roles have reversed. Somebody said she missed her grandma. That's all. Now, I'll say that that's funny because people have been using her dead grandmother as an excuse for Sha'Carri Richardson's bad behavior for far too long. For far too long. It's crazy. So right here, look at this comment. See, this comment right here is wild. This woman says she needs to let him go if he triggers her that much, because no ma'am. So she's basically blaming him for triggering her for her putting her hands on him. Now, what's wild is this. You'll have guys in the space and we'll talk about the DV rates and we'll show the statistics where women initiate most DV encounters. It's just that when men, and it's upwards to a tune of 70%, right? 70% of women initiate DV encounters. The thing is that when men finally get mad and they hit back, it's usually more damage is being done. So then you'll have the man go to jail when he finally rises up after he's been instigated and prodded long enough. But most men, especially nowadays, they're just told to never fight back, that there's no reason to hit a woman. That's what most men have been raised on for like the past I'll say for the past 30 to 40 years. Most men have been taught it doesn't matter what a woman does, you're not allowed to put your hands on her. There's nothing a woman can do that you can put your hands on. And most women have taken advantage of that. Most women have taken advantage of that. Somebody said she looked like she hit first and asked questions later. So somebody said, did he try to run away and she caught him? And here you have somebody laughing about this. Well, I don't think that's funny. I don't think that's funny because we already know You know, this is going to be the same type of, because this is a dude. I'm pretty sure this is a dude that made this comment. This is not a woman that made this comment. This is a dude that made this comment. And this is the point that I'm trying to get at. This stuff that we're going through where female predators are just emboldened, and so much so that they don't even think that they're predators. This is men's fault, because when women do these things, men do not hold them accountable. It's not a bad matter of, we're always talking about, when are women going to hold themselves accountable? Women are never going to hold themselves accountable. And most bad people are not going to hold themselves accountable. This is where the law has to step in. This is where laws need to be written, right? But men don't ever be they're never proactive when it comes to stuff like this. They're just hoping that women are just going to do the right thing. But all you're doing is emboldening them by just waiting for them to, quote unquote, be accountable. And here Christian Coleman dropped the ball. You need to press charges. But you know what's crazy? You know what's interesting is, because Sha'Carri Richardson is the bigger star than Christian Coleman. And I bet you the reason why he did not press charges, one of the main reasons why he did not press charges, is because he knew the backlash he was going to get from the public for pressing charges on a woman for domestic violence. I bet you that's one of the main reasons why. And he knew he was going to get backlash from Black Twitter and all these. It's going to be all these people coming to Sha'Carri Richardson, even though she's an abuser. It's going to be all these Black women invading his comments, stalking him, wishing death upon him for holding Sha'Carri Richardson accountable. It's crazy how the roles have reversed. When we talk about, oh, women are afraid to press charges because they're afraid of the backlash. But here you have a man going through the exact same thing, and nobody wants to call it out. Because he knows if he pressed charges on Sha'Carri Richardson, he's gonna get backlash from Black men and Black women. It's not gonna be just Black women mad at him. It's gonna be Black men calling him a bitch, saying, "Oh, you soft, you're weak." So a lot of this is on men. Men have not been holding female perpetrators, female predators, female abusers. Men have not been holding women accountable to their actions. In fact, when things like this happen, dudes be trying to dirty Mac at this vulnerable time. That's the crazy part about this whole thing. There's dudes right now that are looking at the situation. They're like, oh, damn, I could steal her away from him. Believe it or not. Just because. I want you to look at something else real quick. Okay? Because I can't show you the video where she got arrested, because I think it might flag. It's probably gonna flag. It's probably going to flag my channel. It's probably going to flag my channel. But let me show you the apology video. Let me show you the apology, or not. Sorry, not the apology. The Christian Coleman video of him, still sticking up for Sha'Carri Richardson, even though he's been a victim of abuse. So let's watch this video right here. Look at how he basically comes to her defense.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like it was just a sucky situation all around. Like, I don't feel as if like she should have been arrested. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know, people have discussions and emotions and stuff like that. And she have like things that she need to work on for herself, of course. So do I, so do you, like everybody. And I'm the type of guy, like, I'm in the business of just like extending grace and mercy and love. And I feel as if like I don't try to look at obstacles either. Like I just look at like situations like this to just like, you know, take a step back, analyze yourself mentally, and then just try to see what you can do to be your best self so that you can move forward, so you can just be the type of person and a human that God needs you to be for his kingdom and for his glory. And so that's kind of how I look at the situation. And like, and I hate the narrative too of just like, you know what I'm saying, it's so negative. But like I said, it's just like in the state of Seattle, even talking to the cop or whatever, he was just like, it really was nothing I could do. It's just like, I understood. But I mean, like I said, it was just a sucky situation. But actually, you know what I'm saying, I feel like she's a human being and a great person. And I feel like, you know what I'm saying, like we've been able to be like really good teammates like all year. And I hate that narrative too because, you know, us coming together, like we're just two like real dominant personalities. And she's, to me, the best female athlete in the world. Like I see it every day. And like, you know, for me in my process, like I just said, like moving training groups, a whole new environment, a whole new, you know what I'm saying, training setup, different than what I've been in the past, like, you know, 10 years of my, you know, track and field career, and transitioning and then still coming back running 9.8 and feeling like I got so much more to give. You know what I'm saying? Like that's my path, that's my journey, and like being so up close and personal with her every day. And like I watched this girl like fall on the track like in February, walk it off like it was, you know what I'm saying, like a cramp, but get back up and have to take like a month and a half of just like rehab and trying to come back. And then 3 weeks later, like have a competition and like, you know what I'm saying, like she just has a lot of things going on and like a lot of emotions and she's a human being. She's going on inside of her that like not only I can understand, but you know nobody can, because she's one-on-one and I'm one-on-one too. And so I know everything is happening in God's plan because obviously he's one-on-one. And so that's really the main focus and the thing that I just wanted to say. And I know that like it's been a tough journey for her this year, but she's gonna bounce back. And like I said, I see it every day. She's the best female athlete in the world, and she's gonna do just fine. She's gonna be good. I'm gonna be good too. So it is what it is. She's going on inside of her that
crazy,
like
crazy. Facts. Domestic violence is domestic violence. Shout out to Sugar Queen, aka Tina Jackson. And it's crazy. So you know, I'm gonna look. Let me look at this. I'm gonna look at this comment real quick. And I don't agree with this comment, but look at this. He says, look at the black man. You see how we protect the black woman's image and defend black women in the face of adversity? Beautiful. We don't get on TV and podcasts and say how we hate our spouse for years in a whole marriage. We don't speak about entanglements on podcasts and ish like that. Shout out to him for holding it down. Now, I completely disagree with this in terms of what he's trying to say, but isn't it interesting that when a black woman gets caught up with nonsense, her black male spouse, the black male counterpart is doing everything that he can to make sure her image isn't tarnished. Now, when it's the other way around, when black men's image has been tarnished with the domestic violence, grape, how many it is really a lot of BWs that will come to your defense, especially when you're talking about their own spouse. It's crazy. It's wild. That's wild. Anyways, oh man, I missed this. I miss Pyro's chats in his super chat. So Pyro the Flame King says these parents ruined everything. No matter card and Visa is concerning games with adults themes because these parents be letting their kids do everything. But let me read the $10 super chat here. I missed it. So shout out to Pyro with the $10 super chat.
We got money, niggas! We got money, niggas! We got money, niggas!
Shout out to Pyro with the $10 super chat right here. He says, bro, sometimes you got to treat the normies like kids because they will still blame him even when he tries to walk away. I bet they're going to do that. But if he hit her, they would say he's bad. And what's interesting, he's doing everything in his power to make sure she's not looked at as the villain. It's wild, the compare and the compare and contrast. How black men are going out their way to still not ruin her image. It's just that's wild to me. Even after all the slander, black men, oh, we don't protect black women. We don't do this. We don't do that. And look at how he's doing everything in his power to keep her image clean. Oh man. Yeah, oh yeah. Garrett Grant said facts, Chris, that in Team USA, they would be in some ish. They would be going through, oh, this is an environment that's fostering DV. We need to make a commercial about this. And I always say this, men dropped the ball when it came to Ray Rice and Bill Cosby, but I'll say, let me bring up the Ray Rice example. That I really think that should have been a nothing burger. I really thought that should have been a nothing burger. But too many dudes, what they do is they go out their way to make it seem like, oh, I would never do that to a woman, and they do everything in their power instead of looking at this logically. Because I remember during that time there were women that said, well, she did hit Ray Rice first. And just because you bring up that fact does not mean that you're condoning Ray Rice decking his bish. Just because you brought up that fact that she got hit first, she provoked him, that does not mean you condone what he did. You're just showing this is what happened. It's just, you know what I mean? Oh my goodness. Yeah, bro, this poor fool. I want to see if I can find this comment. There was a comment that a woman made that was it was a great comment. It was a great comment. So right here, yeah, this is the comment right here. So shout out to this lady here. I wanted to give her props. So this woman here, her name is I Am in a Barbie. I don't know what her her account is, but it's a woman. She said, some of y'all must have not read the police report. She pushed him several times, causing him to fly several feet, even into a pole. She also threw headphones at him. It may seem simple, but situations like these escalate. Next time, it could be her throwing a knife. So this is why when you talk about male victims, this is important. Because they look at just physically, oh, a woman can't necessarily physically harm you. But what's going to happen is if you don't address it, the violence is just going to continue to escalate. It's going to escalate until he gets seriously hurt. And when you're talking about when a man is getting seriously hurt, it's basically his life is on the line. And I thought this is what it was all about. When you're protecting victims of DV, you're trying to protect their life. Right? I thought this is what it was all about. Because next time, she is right. Next time, it could be like a knife. Next time, a weapon might be fired or discharged and somebody gets hurt. If you don't address this now, and him not pressing charges on her, he's dropping the ball. Because it's not just about you, sir. This is also about when she eventually leaves you, when she gets with the next male partner, the next man that she's with is going to be in danger. The next man or woman she's going to be with is going to be in danger. So this is why you must press charges. But we already know he didn't press charges because he doesn't want the backlash. It's gonna be. I'm talking about if he pressed charges, it's gonna be women mad at him for pressing charges. It's gonna be a whole community mad at him. So right there, I saw this comment from a woman. She goes, protecting her image despite what happened. That's a good man, Savannah. And people are making light of this situation. This is not a game. Because then the next time she gets mad, a weapon is involved, somebody gets shot in their leg, their career is over. It can escalate that quickly. So right here, you have women in the comments. She said, I knew it. She goes, I literally said she should have not been arrested. Like, headphones, be for real. They know who she was and wanted to tarnish her image. Now, this is a woman that did not read the report and did not look at the details. That was not the only thing she did, throwing headphones at him. She did way more than that. For police to be called in the airport, that means you was acting a plump fool. Because that's the last thing you want, to be removed from an airport because you acting a fool. That's the last thing somebody wants, or TSA or any of these people want. So that means she was acting a plump fool. And in the police reports, she was assaulting him, making a scene. He was trying to walk away from her, and she continued to make a scene. So much so that the police only arrested her, because usually they arrest both. If that mean the dude would yell at the bitch, and the bitch will be hitting the dude, and they'll arrest both both parties. But for them to just specifically arrest Sha'Carri, that means she was doing the most. Right? Yep. So shout out to this young woman right here, Monique 2344. Well, she's probably not a young woman because she says she's a mother, but she goes, respect his response. What he said is true. However, I am a mother to a young man. My advice to you, Christian, is move on. It always starts with a push. We know how unbalanced it is for men and women. She may put you in a sticky situation. Don't ignore the signs. So this is a very great point that she brought up, because it's probably not gonna just end with a push. First of all, she's put her hands on him before. That's what I believe she's put her hands on him before. Because for her to act out like this at an airport, that means she's just used to being she's just a uncontrollable, violent individual. If you can't even keep it together at an airport, where if you do anything wrong at the airport, they can kick your ass out and you on a no-fly zone. There's people that literally their money relies on them flying to everywhere they need to be. So they're not trying to be put on a no-fly zone. So most people are on their best behavior at these airports, especially if you're a ninja. Black people already know you can't be over there acting up. They know this. So for her to do this, that means this is a violent individual. And you never know if Sha'Carri Richardson gonna set him up. People think that women will not set you up to be killed, or a woman won't set you up to be hurt in a real way. She'll push you in front of a car, or she'll be driving and she hits you with the car. It does, like I said, it always starts off with the small things and then it escalates. No matter if it's a man or a woman. Yep. So shout out to, we got another woman here. She says, this is nice, but if the roles were reversed and a woman was attacked by a man, then came out speaking like this, everyone would be throwing out words like Stockholm syndrome, gaslighting, abuse. She said, let's be consistent. What she did is still domestic violence. Yes, she should have been arrested, just as you would have expected a man to be. Yes, she's got emotions to work through, just like an abusive man would. Two things can be true. And I'm pretty sure, even though this is a feminist, I'm pretty sure she was being called pick me in the comments. I bet you. See, right here, the first response she gets. Not the same. Men are stronger. No man is worried about a woman hitting them. Be serious. Already, this is what you would call victim blaming. This is what you would call victim blaming. And it's interesting. Any woman that came to the defense of Christian Coleman, there was an immediate response from a woman shooting down the defense. Somebody said black man protecting a black woman, but they say we dislike them in public. Yeah, that's just like I said, when they talk about, black women aren't protected, that is the biggest load of cap. Because like black women will see this and see how he still came to her defense, and they will still say that black women aren't protected. Like even like remember when like recently there was something that something went viral on Twitter where they were saying that, oh, black men weren't protecting Serena Williams when she was famous. And I was like, what are you talking about? It was literally black male celebrities that would go out their way to talk about how beautiful Serena Williams is. It was literally our white male counterparts that went out of their way to call Serena Williams a gorilla, saying that she was a man. This is what white dudes and white women were saying, but black women somehow were able to rewrite history and say that's what black men were doing this. It just shows you the mental illness. You know what I mean? It's just it's wild. But also, when you're looking at some of the responses, or you look at the lack of empathy for the young men from specifically other men, or even the lack of empathy from some of the women, it shows you what the feminists, what are the feminists really after when people talk about equality or true equality. Are feminists looking for equality? No, they want to be in the position where they believe to be a man is to be abusive and get away with it. Basically, get away with power. That's what they think being a man is. They think being a man is you getting away with things, and just your power or your status supersedes everything that you did wrong. That's what they think being a man is. They think being a man is first of all, they focus on the one double standard that men have, which is being able to be with multiple women and not be looked down upon. While women can't, if women are called multiple men, they're called a hoe, right? Or a 304. That's the only double standard that men actually benefit from. And yet women are so hung up on that. So they think that being a man is benefiting off of double standards, being able to get away with things because of their power and their strength and their physicality. That's what they think being a man is. And that's what the feminists want. So right here, I'm going to show you a video that sums up all of this. All right. Let me look at some more of these comments. So yeah, you got a lot of women in here where they're blaming him for her acting up. I'm seeing some of these comments. They're saying, "Oh, he knows that he triggered her, so that's why he's defending her." And I'm like, "Wow, this is crazy." And or you're seeing a lot of comments that saying that he did the right thing coming to her defense and not dragging her name in the media. You see another comment says, "I love how he kept this so positive." This is sad. Yep. Somebody said comments would not have looked like this if he had hit her. You have another broad saying that was very sweet of him. Somebody said, let's see if y'all treat her the same way y'all treat Chris Brown. Oh, man. But anyways, I want you guys to see this. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's bring up this video. And it's a video that I've already did it, but it's a video I haven't posted. I haven't posted the video, but it's probably going to be posted tomorrow. Or did I post it already? Oh yeah, I think I already posted it. I think I already posted it. But this video should sum up everything. This video right here. Let me see. Let's bring it up right here. I'm gonna open it up in a new tab. F it. I'm gonna bring it up in a new tab. This is the more responsible thing to do. Here we go. Let's bring up the speed. So here we have a woman. Sorry, a young woman. And she's going to say that older men being with younger women is creepy. But if an older woman is with a younger man, there's nothing wrong with it. And this guy here, he's very left leaning. He's like as liberal as it gets. And he's going to be confused because he's going to be like, isn't that a double standard? And he's going to realize quickly that he's going to run him into more feminists like this. They're not looking for equality. They're looking for power. And to be powerful when it comes to the Western feminist, to be powerful is to be abusive with that power. That is power to a feminist, right? For everything to go their way with no repercussions, no consequences. So let's watch this video right here.
Be real with me. An older woman with a younger guy is completely fine and cute, but an older guy with a younger girl is kind of gross.
Why?
Older men dating younger girls can be really creepy and it can get really weird really fast. He just wants to feel younger again and he wants to feel attractive again. But when older women do it, it's cute because it gives them that sense of freedom back, and women have this stigma of aging super poorly.
A lot of people date people who remind them of someone they used to be. I think both an older man and older women doing this, both of them want to feel younger.
I think that's true.
So then why do you feel like it's different when a man wants to feel younger versus when a woman wants to feel younger?
Men are known to kind of be predators a little more. Like all of their friends are their age except for like their girlfriend. But I mean, like, hey, if that's what gets the girl money, like I'm not judging her, I'm judging the man.
In those dynamics, the woman is dating for lifestyle reasons and the man is dating because the younger girl is attractive. So both sides are getting their needs met. We have a tendency to blame the older guy but not the younger girl.
What the man is doing is kind of poor and it's not good, like morally, like to go after a younger person knowing that he has an advantage over her. The woman is doing it. I don't know. I think she's being smart. She's hopping on an opportunity. He's going out and literally searching for younger women. And it's just like, are you smart enough to jump in the way and take the opportunity, ride the wave home?
What was your name?
Georgia.
Preston. Thank you so much. Be real with me.
An older.
So anybody also that knows of this man's channel, they know like this guy, he's like very left leaning. Like even like most of his content, it's him blaming men for everything as well. Right now, the reason why I don't go off on left leaning liberal men like this is they're eventually, especially guys like him, he's gonna get his wake up call, and it's gonna be a nasty wake up call. And he's gonna it's gonna be, yo, I'm telling, like his wake up call gonna be crazy. Because I'm not gonna say similar happened to me, but I'll say like my wake up call was going to college and seeing how things goes down for real. And that was kind of my wake up call for me. And I was like I said, obviously when you're younger, you're a bit more left leaning, but that seeing what happened in college and seeing the things, and you're like, oh, okay, and everything is starting to make sense to me now. You're like, okay, this is how things really go. So with him, he's gonna run into more feminists like this. Trust me, he's gonna run into more feminists like this, and he's gonna realize quickly, whether through trauma or whether through his personal relationship, because I think he has a girlfriend himself, but it's gonna be through those things where he's gonna find out that women aren't looking for equality. They're looking for, they want dominance, they want power, they want to be the powerful gender in these gender dynamics. They're not looking for equality. He's gonna eventually he's gonna find that out, because I want to show you this. If I can bring up the comments, because a lot of the comments, they're kind of missing the point, where everybody talking about hypocrisy and double standards and all this stuff, but I'm like, that's the point. Women want to dominate when it comes to the double standards. They're not looking for equality. They want to be able to have their own set of double standards, and it is what it is. You see how, and it's specifically because they're still stuck up on the point where men can have multiple women and not be seen negatively. But when it goes to women having multiple men, they're not seen as respectful people if they have multiple men. And they're just so stuck up on that, just that one double standard that men have. They think that's something, they think it supersedes all. So right here, it says, if hypocrisy was a community. Somebody said, not everybody needs a microphone. Somebody said, mental gymnastics are scary. Somebody said, she doesn't really believe in women's choice. Somebody said, they really just don't understand what accountability is. But like I said, somebody said she's slow. No, they don't understand. This is the type of woman that the feminists are, this is the type of feminist that the older feminists or the female feminists, this is what they want. They want the younger woman to have that kind of mentality, because they think most men just have that kind of mentality when it comes to cheating. That's what they want. And people are like, most people are gonna blame her and say that she's the wild one. But I said in the video when I dropped it, I was like, where do you think she got that ideology from? She didn't just get that from TikTok. She got that ideology from older women. She got that from older women. For her to even stick up for the older woman for dating younger men and not even put a limit to the age of where an older woman can be with a younger man, that shows you have older women trying to mold her mind into what they want it to be. These are older women that have put these thoughts in her mind, that have molded her into this. So a lot of people make that mistake and just think, oh, it's just Gen Z girls, or just, no, they've been taught this kind. They've been groomed to be this. You know, this is when we talk about feminism, this has been a slow burn. This is 200 years damn near 200 years in the making. Sorry, way more than that. Well, not well, over 200 years in the making of a slow burning process. This has been a slow burn. Even the process from when you're talking about the late 1700s to the early 1910s, 1920s. It's been a slow burn process to get what they want. And this is the final stage of feminism. This is the final stage. This is what they want. This is what they want. Because notice when it came to when she says older women with younger men, she didn't even give an age limit. That shows there are older women at play molding the minds. So and then what's interesting is you got these younger dudes with older women that think, oh, they don't think the way that the younger women think, but really they've been the one that been poisoning the minds. And then once you have these younger men ending up with older women, I can't believe these younger females act this way. I cannot believe this, and blah, blah, blah. Talking crazy about the younger women too, mind you. And meanwhile, they were the ones that planted these things into the young woman's mind. All these, when you see all these younger women that have Botox and they're like 22 years old and they have Botox, who do you think told her to get Botox? Do you think another younger bitch told her to get Botox? No, it's most likely an older bitch or a bitch past the wall that did Botox herself that are telling these young, you got these bitches, they 19, 20, 21, and they got Botox. And I'm like, and me as a man who could give a shit less, I'm like, you're 19. Why do you need Botox? You're 19 years old. It's older women telling them to get Botox. They're purposely sabotaging them. And then on the back end, bragging about how younger men are going after older women. Generational sabotage, exactly. All these young bitches on Botox. I don't know why people can't put two and two together. I'm like, it's older bitches telling them to do this because they envy their youth. We're so much so you got these bitches that are over 30, over 40, still trying to do young people stuff because they look at all the opportunities that young women have. They want to, like I said, the older women, they want to be spoiled too. They want to get spoiled. They want to be flown out. They want to be able to just sue ninjas for sleeping with them. They look at all the opportunities that the younger women have, and they want that, and they're willing to do whatever it takes. So if it means sabotaging our women, so be it. And people might think, oh, Chris, is not that deep. Ask. I always say this: ask the younger women where they got their ideas from. They're gonna tell you their grandmas, their aunts, their moms. They just don't do it in front of the men. They wait till the men are gone, and then once the younger women start asking for advice, then they start pushing that feminist stuff. Now the problem is it's backfiring because you got these younger women, they don't want to have kids no more, and these parents and grandparents, they want grandkids and great grandkids, and they don't realize that kind of backfired by pushing that feminism crap. So now they're trying to act like they're anti-feminism, but they were the ones that pushed that nonsense on their daughters and their nieces in the first place. I'm not gonna let the older broads get away with the damage that they have done, because it's not just the younger woman just acting out of nowhere, and it's not just because of TikTok or social media. Because I know plenty of young women that have TikTok and all of that, and they do not think this way. That's not their mentality, to just hate men and and finesse. No. I know plenty of women that have all of these things, and they will never they would never say these things. You got to pay attention to who their mothers are. You got to pay attention to the professors that they had in college, right? The older sorority sisters, or who are the people in real life that they know. The women, what are the older women in their lives? What are they pouring into the younger women? What philosophies, what ideas, what are they pouring into them? This is what you got to pay attention to. Pyro said it's not that deep, my behind. Yeah, they because like I'll go into this and then nigga, it's not that deep. Nah. I know where they're getting their ideas from, and it's not from TikTok. And if it is from TikTok, it's from an older woman. Yo. He said, we know these old bag of bones be telling the young cats these things. And then what happens is you got these older women now bragging about younger men wanting to be with them. And then what's interesting is you'll have these older women, they'll have a younger man. They'll brag. And like I said, those older women, they're not paying the younger men. The younger men are paying for the lifestyle of the older women. Trust me. That's what's happening. This is why older women are preying specifically on younger men, because they don't know much better, but they still have the youth on their side. They have the virility on their side. They're very hardworking. They want to fill some kind of traditional masculine role. So an older woman will be like, hey, I'll let you pay for everything. Shoot, I'll do that. I'll sit there and look pretty and let you pay for everything. And really, the younger men, they want to do it for the women their age, but the women their age have been fed that nonsense. Then the older women come in and they try to play that role after having their fun. And then you have all these young dudes that come out and say, "Oh man, yeah, it's better for me when I date older women." I'm like, "Oh yeah, of course it is." you think it is, but you don't realize you're getting played yourself. You getting circles ran around you right now by that older woman. Yep. Garrett Grant said, facts. All that talk about the fertility crisis, yet hardly anyone digs into the root of the issue being sabotage from older people, and specifically older women waiting until they're waiting until their 30s to have kids. Oh yeah, of course. I know what you mean. Garrett Grant said, not all older people, but more than enough. I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Just like I'll say this, on this channel, you don't gotta worry about me taking it or the other people, the other older people in the comment section taking it the wrong way. You don't gotta worry about that on this channel. We our you don't gotta what's that word that Stephen A. Smith be using? Anyways. But older, particularly, or older men or older women, but specifically older women, they're never gonna. It seems like nobody's gonna hold them accountable. But you see it everywhere. They were the one that really pushed that effinism, and now they're like, I'm telling you, they will tell the young woman, don't be with no dude with in your prime years, whatever, blah blah blah. Then meanwhile they're bragging about being with younger men and how younger men are paying for their lifestyle and all this stuff. You're just like, I thought you said all these dudes, their age, they ain't doing nothing. But a lot of particularly women our age, they don't see the sabotage. They don't realize they've been sabotaged. You got these broads now. They've been told by older women not to cook, not to clean. So they don't even teach them how to cook or any of this. And now you got these bitches now, they got no skills. So now They need a man, but they literally have nothing to offer. They don't even have the bare minimum requirements, the bare minimum. They can't even they can't properly clean, they can't properly this, they can't properly that. And now you have a whole generation of women that are basically useless. They're basically useless. Then at the same time, you got these same bitches that told them not to cook and clean, or especially the fat bitches. Let me not even get in. Let me forget the older bitches. Let me talk about the fat bitches telling these hoes not to do this and that for their man, and they listen to them. Meanwhile, the fat bitches is cooking and cleaning his feet, doing his nails, paying his bills, letting him stay at the house for free without paying nothing, and letting him cheat. And then she has her skinny friends, whatever, that she hangs with, and she's telling her skinny friends to like do everything wrong in the relationship, and they don't realize that fat friend is sabotaging her. Because the thing is, the skinny friends that be having the fat bitch around, or the fat bitches around, they think that they're using the fat bitches. So they have the fat bitch as like as a pet friend. And she uses that fat friend as a bodyguard when she doesn't want certain dudes around her. And she doesn't realize that the fat friend understands what she's there for. And so the fat friend, as a revenge back, they will suggest that women will do certain things to their man, and they're sabotaging them as well. It's just a whole circle of sabotage from undesirable people messing up a desirable person's reality. So even because when you're dealing with men, what happens is even the older men that are smashing younger women, or older men who are proud tricks, they will tell you straight up, it's only because of this money that I got your hoe. They'll tell you straight up, it's a money. It's all about they'll tell you it's a money thing. They'll tell you. Or an older man will just tell you, if you're making certain mistakes, not to chase, etc. Or how about this? A person in my position. What people don't understand is there are people that have texted me, messaged me. I don't give everybody the same advice. I really look at who you are, and I'm like, okay, this is his reality. This is his reality. This is the same advice. Like, I don't give the same advice I'd give, say, to if it's a young 19-year-old texting me about something. That's not the same advice I'm gonna give a 30-year-old dude texting me. So first, like, I'm gonna give you an example. It was it was a older subscriber, and I don't want to put his business out there, but he said that he had asked for his woman's body count, and she blocked him on every social media. And I told him, why did you do that? Why would you ask for her body count? She's 30 years old. She has a body count. I'm like, and I told him, I'm like, are you going to marry her? If you're not going to marry her, there's really no point. You should already assume, if you're dealing with a 30-year-old, you're dealing with a 30-year-old woman. I don't care where you met her. I don't care if you met her in America, if you met her in one of these countries. If she's 30 and it's a young woman, and she's dated other people, she has a past. You're not going to find no 30-year-old female virgin. That's, if you do, that girl is probably going to be batshit crazy anyways. So that's an advice I would give to that person, right? But then I have had somebody that's young message me and be like, oh, what about this? And it's something completely different, right? I'm not going to give everybody the same advice. But because I understand, look, this is not my life. These are people's lives at hand. I got to make sure if somebody's asking me a question, I'm not trying to project my reality on them. They have their own lives. They have their own lives. I can't be playing God. I can't be, oh, you got to do it like this. No, everybody got their own lives. So you got to be careful with that. But what women do is they look at other women as competition. They don't look at them as, damn, I've been where you at. Hopefully she doesn't make the same mistake. You have the older women now competing for the same men that the younger women are competing for. And older women can deny this, but if you're making this, you're making same videos about how age gap dating is good. Look at me with a younger man. Yes, that means you're proving my point. You're competing for the same men. You and your daughter are competing for the same men. It's clear. It's clear as day. You even see it on Instagram. They're competing. They're competing with their own daughters. Garrett Grant said, "Thanks, Chris." I know what you mean. But anyways, you got to understand, when you're talking about feminists and all these people, they're looking for dominance. They're not looking for equality. So when you see women like this or feminists like this, they're just blatant with the double standards. They're doing that on purpose. It's not like she's oblivious to the double standards. She knows exactly what she's doing. She knows exactly what she's doing. Like when you see, when I tell you, when Mia Khalifa always comes out and she says, "Oh, Bang Bros, they did me dirty. They stole money from me. I was tricked into becoming in the industry. I was abused." She's doing that on purpose. She's trying to make that the reality. Because the more she says it, it just becomes the reality, even though it's not true at all. So that's the point. That's the point. Anyways, let me do a quick shout out to the super chats, right? Long live the king with the $5 super chat earlier on. Gary Grant with the $10 super chat, and Pyro with the $10 super chat. Thank you guys for these super chats. Man, any donations is appreciated. That's the soundbite I forgot to do. Hold on, let me see if I can bring it up real quick. That's the soundbite I forgot to clip. It's the Dr. Umar Johnson soundbite. Gifts, donations. Yeah, this is the one I forgot.
Donations. Thank you, Sister Av. Donations. 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 Gifts. 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 More gifts. More gifts. Donations. 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 Gifts. 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 More gifts. More gifts.
Yeah, this is it. This is gonna be the next donation soundbite. This is yeah. I'm not gonna say no more to the Birdman one, but this has to be the new one. This has to be the new clip. I just hope people remind me. So you know what? While I'm here, I'm gonna download this clip. While I'm here, I'm gonna download the clip. and I'm gonna save it to my soundbite folder on my PC. This will be, yep. Because I don't want to do, because I know one that I wanted to do, the WWE one, but WWE they be tracking down on people using their sound bites. So I don't want to use the WWE. I wanted to do the WWE one, money. Yeah. I wanted to do that one, but I already know they're gonna flag that. So I'm gonna use the Mr. Panhandler himself. The Prince of Panhandling. That's what we're gonna call him from now on. Not the Prince of Pan-Africanism, the Prince of Panhandling. Somebody gave him that nickname on Twitter, and it's sticking. Tell me how he's gonna put a woman on blast after she was basically taking care of him. And then he's gonna say her punani was trash after basically living off her for a little bit. That's crazy. The Prince of Panhandling. So let me download. What it says unable to. Oh, it's because it's a short. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do that later. Convert YouTube Shorts. Okay. I'm pretty sure I got the website for that. Here we go. We're gonna download that soundbite. And I'm gonna definitely have it on standby. Definitely gonna have it on standby. Here we go. Downloaded. And we will put that clip into the media files. Right? Well, damn, I'm gonna have to delete something to free up room. Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna delete the African soundbite right here, and we're gonna put this in. No homo. Here we go. Gonna clip this soundbite right here. Perfect.
Donation.
Yep, I got it. Perfect. We got it. So right here.
Donations.
I'm gonna be abusing that. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm gonna be abusing this. No cap. I'm definitely gonna be abusing this. I'm surprised I haven't used this soundbite. Like, wait, hold on. Let me see. I'm surprised I haven't used this soundbite.
A fat woman is the equivalent of what a broke dude is.
Okay,
They are
sorry.
the same.
Okay.
Sorry, Dinford.
All right.
I cannot keep quiet.
Yeah, I gotta put more Shadiah Knight sound bites. But anyways, I think that is it for today. Low key, I wanted the main topic to be the Cam Newton and the Johnny Manziel situation and them teaming up to do a interview together. But since Sha'Carri Richardson was trending, I was like, all right, let's do that. And I do have a lot of videos relating to that incident. It's unfortunate. It looks like Christian Coleman is going to have to learn the hard way. He should have pressed charges, but he looks like he's going to have to learn the hard way. He's hard-headed. You know, most men are hard-headed when it comes to women. But, hopefully he can escape that situation before he gets seriously hurt. Because I do think Sha'Carri Richardson, to me, she's always come across as a person that would put her hands on a man if given the opportunity. Not necessarily just an OD abusive person, but just like a person that if given the opportunity, she'll put her hands on a man. she comes across as that type of person. But anyways, thank you guys again, man. Thank you for the super chats. I never take those for granted. You know what I mean?
Donations.
So I ain't gonna play that full clip, but thank you guys again. I don't know what clip. Nah, I'm not gonna use that Corey Holcomb clip. I'm not sure which one to use. Yeah, I'm not sure which one to use. Oh, I could use the Haha Davis one. We'll land this with the Haha Davis one. Oh yeah, by the way, please check out my Bethany Frankel clip that I dropped today. I had no idea. Oh no, or I think I dropped it yesterday. Did I drop it today or the Bethany? Yeah, the Bethany Frankel clip I dropped yesterday. I didn't know Bethany Frankel had a lot of fans like that. Well, she is famous enough for Family Guy to include her in a clip or two, but I didn't know she had clout like that. I didn't know. But anyway, shout out to you guys, man. Thank you for tuning into the whole stream. Thank you for your patience. Right? Let me hit that Haha Davis soundbite on the way out. Take care, guys.
God, and I'm on hard. God, on hard. God, on hard. Get naked before I come over there and take it. Bro, what is wrong with you? Wrong. That's the sound of me all up in your ass. What, you some type of freak or something? God, I'm for the guard, but I'm still on hard. God.